Oh, well, I'll provide him with their contact info.
I did not try to call him now. And I actually, all my voicemails are cleared up right now.
I don't know, he might have called, because he did get back to
He
me,
called the main number.
and he said, yeah, I think he might have called the main number.
We have
fun
We
though.
did have fun. We actually, we went out to lunch, we had a blast, but then my legs were like, what'd you do to us? Yeah, honestly, I haven't spent any time in my kids like in the last couple weeks because we've had so much stuff.
Yeah.
We're moving from San Francisco to Dixie. So Friday night we went to dinner. Saturday we did that run. Sunday we did Sox game. I was just like, this was really
Yeah,
good
yeah.
family weekend. It was really fun.
I did see the Red Sox.
Yeah, yeah, we needed that. We just had Reese's cheap seats, but we just like,
I
just get
mean,
out and do
something
it.
is better than nothing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I go like when I go to the Sox game just to enjoy the environment. 'Cause
Exactly.
I
It's
don't
people
like
watching.
I think baseball is so boring.
I do like baseball too, but I actually like watching the commercials. Look at that guy's hair.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
it's cute or you know. Just see, and especially like the this guy, like the funny things that they say and stuff makes you laugh. So it is fun. And then I was sitting actually on the beaches like Lottie and that said she laughed because there was a picture that they like and stuff and they thought that she like almost like a little girl or big one.
Yeah,
It was so
yeah.
cute. It was really fun. It was really good.
Good evening and welcome to the special meeting for the Lawrence City Council. Today's date is Monday, June 30, 2025. Pursuant to Chapter 30 of the Act of 2022, this meeting will be hybrid, allowing participation both in person in the City Council chambers and remotely. Anybody that requests these Zoom links for this meeting through the City Clerk's office was provided to. This meeting is also being transmitted live through that Lawrence City Council platform, digital platform, Facebook, and YouTube. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilor Levy.
Present.
Councilor LaPlante.
Present.
Councilor Luzon is noted as absent. Councilor Del Rosario.
Present.
Councilor Santiago.
Present.
Councilor Marmol.
Present.
Councilor Reyes.
Present.
Council Vice President Infante.
Present.
Council President Rodriguez.
Present. Please join me for a moment of silence. Now join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, we're gonna go with public participation. The rules for public participation are as follows. You're gonna have 2.5 minutes to speak. At the 2-minute mark, you're gonna hear a beep or sound or an indication that you still have 30 seconds. When you refer to this council as a whole, not to any individual councilors. The first person that we have is H. Mali. Name and address for the record.
Homoyun Mali, 53 Chester Street. Good evening, honorable members. We, the citizens, are proud to support Lawrence Police Officers Union. Lawrence Police Officers Union, this union of pride and honor, with the impeccable leadership by Honorable Chief Morris Aguilar, doing excellent job to protect our citizens. Laurentian #1 champion of support of union right, Lawrence Police Union, Seniors Officers Union. Thank you for making Lawrence a safe city. We are proud to support our best DPW department employees. Lawrence is a beautiful city because of our awesome DPW workers. Thank you for excellent job. Lawrence Inspection Department employees, thank you for excellent job. We support your union. We must hire more inspectors. Lawrence Public School, with the impeccable leadership by Honorable Superintendent Ralph Guerrero, moving forward. We, the citizens, support our teachers' union. We demand the best compensation for our cafeteria workers. Lawrence always is strong. Lawrence always unite. We are proud to support our brave veterans. Thank you for your service. Thank you for standing up for freedom. We demand equal pay for all the senior employees of our city. We must hire 2 vacant positions for our Veterans Department. We must create the best elder commission. We, the Laurentian, pray for the safety of all police officers and the first responder. Lawrence Police building a new building. Lawrence Police is the best shining star in our city. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. The next person that we have is Rich Russell, Councilor Russell.
Good evening, councilors. Rich Russell, 34 Cross Street, still present and accounted for. I don't know which comic punchline is more appropriate here. What's the difference between dumb and stupid? Dumb is doing it over again and expecting a change. Stupid is doing it over and over and over again, waiting for it to change. Or as the Yogi Berra line, this is just like deja vu all over again. One would figure that between the 9 of you making somewhere around $185,000 and the mayor, his chief of staff, and his super secret senior advisor making about $450,000 could read a calendar and to be able to figure out when 45 days would be up. What gets me is about $350,000 is being paid to the Brain Trust on the 3rd floor is going down to towners. I, in my following the city council since the days of Mayor Antigua, have never seen such ineptitude in financial matters. Now, I'm not sure if this still applies, but it makes me wonder if Chapter 58, the Acts of 2010, an act providing for the financial stability of the city of Lawrence, is still in effect. Most notably, Section 7, which provides for the appointment of a fiscal overseer to assess the ability of the city government to manage its fiscal challenges. I am not sure if the state bailout has been paid in its entirety. If not, Sean Cronin, where art thou? Maybe he could do a deus ex machina and help us save us from the 200 Common Street's own ineptitude, greed, stubbornness. You supply the proper adjective or adverb. For all of those in Lawrence with low or fixed income, this deja vu all over again is beginning to suck, particularly on our wallets. Thank you for the time to express my frustrations.
The next person that we have is Councilor LaPlante, Mark LaPlante. Name and address for the record, please.
Mark LaPlante, 29 Durso Ave. Councilors, enough is enough. We're better than this, or at least we should be better than this. Let's stop taking our debates to the radio stations and social media, and let's have the proper deliberations here. Let's allow our colleagues to have the opportunity to address on their merits, and let's have an open mind when we listen to them. Before June 16th, we offered each other the courtesy to speak before offering a motion to table. That served us well and built some goodwill. Let's return to that. Let's stop voting on issues based on perceived alliances. If we think like this, we will be divisive. Our first loyalty is to the residents we represent. That's it. Keep the politics out of this room, and let's deal with the issues. Please tell me why you think I should support or oppose a proposal. Give me a basis, a reason, a rationale. I will listen to you and give you the consideration and respect of your office. Finally, I understand your frustrations. I'm also frustrated. What I have learned over the years is that the residents blame or praise our entire city council institution, regardless of the final vote. We may think that our residents differentiate among us, but that is largely untrue. I'm asking the council to make our chamber the place where it is acceptable to have an opposing opinion when it is based on reason and fact. I want us to be thoughtful and respectful. When we accomplish this, we serve our constituents well.
Anybody from the public that wishes to speak? Name and address for the record, please.
Martha Velez, Director of the Health and Human Services Director, 155 Havel Street. Thank you for the opportunity to stand before you once again. I come before you to respectfully request your approval, reconsideration of your prior vote for the reauthorization of expenditures to the Recreation Department's revolving account, Lawrence Council on Aging Activities Account, and lastly, Veterans Stadium. In full transparency, the CAFO's office and our departments have given you a full spend down and revenue intake of each account. We would like to impress upon you the importance of this approval, which affects the efficiency of these two departments. Recreation. The Recreation Department revolving account covers the cost of summer program field trip tickets, uniforms, transportation, sports equipment, summer program supplies for activities and events such as arts and crafts, games, signs, printing, professional services, face painters, entertainment, interactive games, activities for various events, occasional supplies for cups, water, bins that are essential to running a successful and effective program. Over the years, this program has consistently delivered strong results, serving children from ages 6 to 12 with a consistent year-over-year increase in enrollment. The summer recreational program serves children from all over the city who may or may not come from low-income households and who may or may not have access to enrichment opportunities that we have been able to provide through our partnerships. By having students enrolled in our 6-week summer programs such as Fun in the Sun, Summer Baseball Camp, which is new this year, the 6-week tennis camp, which is also new this year, we provide a safe, structured environment during months when many families cannot afford childcare for private programs. The Council on Aging Activities Fund account is funded by activities, programs, and events that help offset the cost of such activities. These events, programs, and activities are thoughtfully developed for elders to increase engagement in community, decrease isolation, and promote healthy living. The Lawrence Council on Aging Activities account supports departmental and program needs. This account offsets the cost of everyday maintenance supplies, paper goods, kitchen food, coffee, exercise instructors, teachers for citizenship and English as a second language, and many other costs associated with running an effective senior center. We respectfully request the City Council, all of you please, to reconsider authorizing the expenditure expenditures for the Recreation Department revolving account, Lawrence Council on Aging Activities account, and the Veteran Stadium account tonight. Thank you for your time. Have a good night.
Thank you. All right, anybody from the public that wishes to speak? All right, okay.
Good evening,
Name and address
councilors.
for the record.
Nelson Silva, Recycling Coordinator for the City of Lawrence. Writing on a memorandum that was sent to Mayor Brian DePena from DPW Director Jorge Jaime. I'm sure you all received this. It states the following. This report respectfully outlines the significant immediate challenges that will result if item 242-25 DPW Recycling Revolving Fund account with $150,000 expenditure limit is not authorized. The consequences will be swift, visible, and deeply felt by our residents, neighborhoods, and the city. City's capacity to deliver essential sanitation services. This is not a routine fund. It is the lifeline of our sanitation operations, impacting everything from trash disposal to illegal dumping, control to public health compliance. Mattress collection. Illegal dumping will surge. Mattresses are among most commonly discarded bulky items. The city currently offers a scheduled pickup program for residents. This service ensures legal disposal and preventative public health violations. Without this funding, the city will be forced to suspend mattress pickups. Residents will have no accessible, regulated way to dispose of these large items. The result? Mattresses abandoned in alleyways, sidewalks, parks, and curbs, creating sanitation hazards and accelerating neighborhood decline. We will see a surge in illegal dumping complaints, overflowing removal backlogs for DPW crews, declining public perception of the city's commitment to clean, safe neighborhoods. This deterioration will not go unnoticed by residents or by the media. Trash barrels. Excuse me. Overflowing waste, rodent activity, and public health risks. The city regularly purchases and distributes standard trash barrels to residents. These barrels are critical for proposal household waste containment. Without this fund, we cannot restock trash barrels. That means new residents will go without trash bins. Overflowing household waste will become a common sight. Rodents, raccoons, and litter will multiply, especially in densely populated areas with limited waste storage. DPW crews will spend more time reacting to messes than proactively managing operations. Worse still, our ability to respond to constituent requests
30 more seconds.
will severely be compromised. We will no longer have the tools to support constituents when they ask for help. The other one, real quick, is overflow of trash bags, a simple tool that prevents big problem, household hazardous waste. If we cancel these events, residents may not
Thank you.
have the right way to dispose.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, anybody from the public that wishes to speak? All right, now, public participation is now closed. All these names are going to be submitted for the records. Public hearing, item 16424, Mayor Brian Edepeya recommended budget for fiscal year 2026. Councilors, anybody, any questions?
I'd like to make a motion to withdraw.
Any questions?
I'd like to make a motion to withdraw.
There's a motion to withdraw.
Second?
Properly second discussion. Any discussion? So I'm gonna say a few facts on the matter. This budget fiscal year 2026 have in fact a tax increasement to the tax levy capacity, which means 2.5%. This budget fiscal year 2026 also have in fact a new growth built into it of $1.2 million, but I guess that we received information that it was going to be about 1.4, 1.2? Okay, $1.2 million, with a total percentage of about 3.58% increasement on the taxes. This budget have in fact tax increasements to the constituents with salaries that were not justified, and substantially to the public, that over the years, potentially, these salaries might not be able to be afforded by the residents of the city of Lawrence. These budget have, in fact, on the memo, significant errors that were fixed over the time, and errors that were misleading the public. In fact, this budget mentioned that the tax increasement was going to be a moderate tax increasement, when in fact it was to the max allowed by law. One of the memo that it was presented to us, this budget have an override on it. Subsequently, that was fixed to the proper wording. This budget, in fact, mentioned a significant, or mentioned that, in fact, the services that we are going to be receiving are essential services. I don't know what that means. Is that means that we are dealing with the minimum amount of service that we can get, or essential services when it comes to life-saving services? This budget, in fact, talk about or allow a lot of expenditures that were not quite justified to the public.
Council President,
Councilor LaPlante?
through our rules, I want to hear what you have to say, but I do believe you need to pass the gavel on to the Vice President so you can continue.
If I not mention facts, and then I will, because that's not my opinion, that's facts. The difference between a fact and an opinion is that I'm not saying my opinion, I'm saying what is on the budget. Those are facts. In fact, this budget will have a huge impact to the community, to the taxpayers, to the renters. And in fact, we are not 100% sentenced if the budget was submitted on the 2nd of May 2nd. With that said, I will open up any questions
Council President,
from any councilors. Councilor De Rosario.
thank you through you. And going along with you, in fact, we as a body here, we should take full responsibility for this budget going through the way it did. None of us have been through the 45 days before, and we missed those days. I believe that even the city attorney was surprised about that. So in fact, we as a body should take full responsibility of the budget going through the way it went through, because we took longer than what it would have took. I mean, the cuts, maybe they did not go through because the way they were presented to us. And in fact, again, we should take full responsibility. I believe this is the first time that this happened in the city of the 45 days. And it's us here. We're here to cut. We're here to deny. We could take one day and deny the full budget if we all find all those discrepancies that were inside the budget. We should have denied it right away because there was all those discrepancy. The Budget and Finance Committee did their job, did the due diligence, asked the questions that they need. At the end, when we were ready to vote, if we find all the discrepancies, they should be denied right there and not prolong all the discussion to the end and put us as a body, us, because people are seeing us as the one that dropped the ball, and we got to take responsibility as city councilors. In fact, we dropped the ball, and that's why we're paying for the 45 days, and now our constituents are going to pay what they need to pay. Thank you.
Any other councilors? Councilor Mamo?
Through you, Council President, so far I share the same sentiments as my colleagues. However, representing District D as a newer councilor, this is the first time I'm experiencing this challenge. I've noticed that there are a lot of folks that want to pretend that they have the city charter memorized, and it looks like everybody knew about the 45 days. Yet, I agree. The ignorance of not knowing something does not take away the fact that essentially, as a body, we are held responsible. However, what I'm noticing too is, what is the purpose of having an attorney that serves who we hire to serve us and to serve our people? What purpose does he serve when we constantly ask for legal opinions all the time, because none of us here are attorneys? Oftentimes he interrupts us to provide us with advice, to guide us when we are not, when we're stepping into territory that we should not be stepping into. So where was that advice? Where was that guidance for us counselors on Monday, June 16th? I feel like we were all failed to some degree as well. I also want to state the fact that if we're going to be fiscally prudent and try to be fiscally responsible in one area, let's be like that in every area. We cannot pick and choose when we feel like being fiscally prudent, and then choosing certain departments that will trigger heartstrings, and therefore we should overlook other accounts because of the purpose of, because it's serving the youth and serving the elderly. If we're gonna be fiscally prudent, I feel like we need to be an example that we're being fiscally prudent in all areas of the budget, not picking and choosing which ones. I know I did my best in doing my due diligence in reviewing every line item. I try to do cuts in order to reduce the impact that is gonna cause to our residents. And it is unfortunate that I didn't, you're okay? Just to wrap up my thoughts, our job is tough. I don't want to make cuts. I don't want to argue about someone's salary. But at the end of the day, when I'm looking at a tax increase, I'm just trying to make the best decision as possible for our city. And I wish that all of you had shared the same sentiments as me, doing the hard work of making cuts, that it's not easy. You know, oftentimes we're looking like we're the bad guys in having to do this, but it is part of our responsibility, and we owe it to the folks that voted us in here to represent us and be a voice for them. That's all I have to say.
Any other councilors?
Council President.
Councilor Vice President Infante.
Thank you, Council President, through you. With a lot of what my colleague, Council Marmol said, I echo. I also would like to add to those comments that it was particularly frustrating to have these budget meetings at the full council capacity and looking around the table and seeing some councilors not even having their budget book open. It was frustrating to then see councilors, city employees, speaking disrespectfully about the council or certain members of the council for us trying to do our job. And then we have people standing at that podium basically asking us to approve what their department needs when they're out there trying to be disrespectful. Another thing, I am frustrated about what occurred with the 45-day. To echo my colleagues' comments, there are individuals here that like to, I would say, like to inform the full council that they know the rules. And that would have been helpful for the full council in that moment. When we talk about working together, when we talk about having these respectful conversations during the full council, that's part of a respectful conversation and debate. And lastly, I want to say, I spent the weekend talking to many constituents throughout District D, and I was very transparent about what occurred from both ends. And I appreciate my constituents for understanding. I appreciate the feedback that they provided me with, and I'm glad that I was able to have that transparent conversations with many constituents. And that's what I'm going to say for now.
Any other councilors? We have an underlying motion, which is motion to withdraw. Councilor Mamo.
I believe I had a question. I'm not sure if you were able to receive an answer in regards to the budget that we received. Weren't there questions in regards to the date in which it was received? Was that like up for debate as to the date that it was received, whether it was received electronically or date stamped by the city clerk? If it was date stamped by the city clerk, is it supposed to be date stamped by the city clerk?
City Clerk?
Absolutely, Council. Thank you for the question. On May 1, I received a cover memo from the CAFO asking me to put it on the agenda as a placeholder. May 1st was a Thursday. That's the day that our agenda closes. So I did not have the budget on May 1st. I did put it on the agenda on May 1st. That's the day it closes. And in your budget books, there's a date-stamped letter that is separate from the book. It's a letter from the CAFO, dated May 1, date stamped May 1. The books came down on May 2nd. They are not date stamped, and that is an error on my part, and I cannot fix that at this point. I did send all of you an email on May 2nd. You all have that email that says the budget book is several hundred pages long. I am not incorporating it into your packages for this week. There's a link to the budget electronically below, and I have paper copies for you here at City Hall. The email does not say if they're in my office or your office, and in all honesty, I don't remember if your office was locked and I didn't bring them over, or if they're in my office. They were brought downstairs. They were not date stamped. We received those books on May 2nd. I don't have a date stamped copy. That is my fault, and I will not make that mistake again. but the books did not get time-stamped. The letter that came in the day before was time-stamped. But I feel like the email that went to all of you is probably the best resource to look at, because it has an electronic copy of the budget attached to it. It references the fact that I have paper copies. I would never have said I have paper copies if I didn't. So I got those books by the 2nd. The books are not date-stamped, and that is my fault.
And I just wanted clarity on it. It's not to like point fingers, okay.
That's a fair question.
Actually, it's also some facts that evolve around the conversations of around the date, and those facts were that the council sent that over to the council in order for the council or the Budget and Finance Committee to have more time, when in fact that was not the case. That was what the discussion around. Also, that evolved throughout the conversations. Any other councilors that wish to speak? Council Mamo.
And this is just to echo Councilor LaPlante's message. It was a beautiful message, and I hope that it is something that we could continuously remind ourselves on how to conduct ourselves and the decorum that we should be following when we are representing ourselves as councilors and being in the position of public service. But what I would love to add to that whole message is that it starts with leadership, and hopefully people could realize that they could lead by example when it comes to the type of professionalism and the unity and having to collaborate with one another in order to see the city prosper and grow and function properly. It starts from up top, and hopefully we're able to get past this, and I will try to do my best to be cognizant of that when how the way I deliver my messages.
Council President,
Sí, Council Lawson, ¿quién más? ¿Ayuda? Council Lawson.
apologies, Council President. I was at a meeting with a group of constituents. I just read, it's supposed to be on. Oh, can you hear me now? I just said that my apologies to the council and to the people that are present. I came from a meeting with some of my constituents in regards to parking in the new schools. I just read this, and thank you, Council Marmol, for calling this a beautiful message from Councilor LaPlante. But I just hope that this is also sent to the mayor's office, especially to Mayor Brian De Peña, because he's part of this too. So just for the record, I just hope that Councilor LaPlante sent this beautiful message to Mayor Brian De Peña and some of his colleagues at the mayor's office. That's what I wanted to say, Council President.
Right.
Council President,
Council LeBlanc.
thank you. Based on the recommendation from my colleague from District B, thank you. I will provide this comment. They're here, they heard it, but I will provide the comments to them as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor LaPlante. Thank you, Council President.
Councilor Infante. Councilor President Infante.
Thank you. I'm waiting to be last because I usually jump in right away. I want to add to my colleague's statement from District D. And I want to say, and I'm going to look directly at her, I think when it comes to heated discussion or debates during meetings, I believe you and I have a lot of patience. So when we don't have it, it's because we've endured a lot. And I want to say that professionalism, respectfulness is not just during the budget times. I have witnessed counselors get up in the middle of the meeting because they're not happy with how things are going. I have witnessed counselors not even looking at papers, not paying attention to what's going on. All of that encompasses respectfulness, leading by example, And each of us, all 9 of us, one way or the other, are at fault with one of these things, if not something else. And that's something that we need to be transparent about as well. So I hope that we do turn a leaf. I'm sure we're gonna have many more debates, heated debates and discussions. That's not, we're never going to 100% agree, but I hope this was a lesson for all of us moving forward.
Any other councilors? Right, we have an underlying motion. There is a motion to withdraw. Item 16425. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any nays? Madam Clerk, please call the roll on that.
This is a motion to withdraw document 16425, which is the budget. Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Councilor Marma?
Abstain.
Councilor Santiago?
No.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Councilor Luzon?
No.
Councilor LaPlante?
Yes.
Councilor Levy?
Yes.
Council Vice President Infante?
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez?
I vote no. What's the count?
5 in favor, 3 opposed, 1 abstention.
Motion carries.
You're right, carries. I have no
All right, now we go on to table matters. Councilors?
Council President,
Councilor Del Rosario.
motion on table, item 23425.
Second.
There's a motion to on table, item 23425. It's a transfer of $492.770.34 from free cash to designated police, designated for the police department for capital improvement. Properly second by Councilor Reyes. Discussion? I hear none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it.
Council President,
Item 23425, Councilor Del Rosario.
item 23425, motion to approve and waive the 30 days.
There's a motion to approve and waive the 30 days.
Discussion.
Discussion? There is already an underlying motion to approve, I believe. This
So
and-
can we
and
add-
The underlying motion was by,
Councilor Infante, and I can go to the second
there is an underlying motion by Councilor Infante, which is that the committee chair for the Budget and Finance Committee
So a friendly amendment to add, if eventually you go through to waive the 30 days?
to waive the 30 days. Is that a friendly amendment? Do you accept?
Yeah.
All right, there is a friendly amendment and it's been accepted to waive the 30 days.
Discussion.
Discussion, Councilor Infante.
Thank you. Through you, Council President. All right, pertaining to this item and the next, 5, 6, 7 items we have. Another thing, being a city councilor, sitting on this side of the chamber, that is extremely frustrating, is that councilors had to take extreme measures to get simple documentation on how these monies were going to be used. The level of disrespect from city departments, from the mayor's office, to this council is ridiculous. It was not fun for me. I don't want to make anybody's life harder or more challenging. I'm only going to speak for myself, I'm simply just trying to do my job of what I was elected to do. So the fact that we had to get this information by doing that is crazy. And I also don't appreciate the misleading information that was put out to the public stating that because we did not vote on these items that day, programs were automatically shut down. It was said by the administration, it was said by some councilors sitting here tonight, when we all know that's not true. I think I've said it. One more time, it's very frustrating.
All right, any other councilors? Councilor, this is the time to discuss this matter. Councilor Marmo.
So quick question. Are we supposed to vote in favor of approving this when we just received these documents today? Like all these,
In fact,
all the documentation I'm seeing, like,
the item 24325, we have not received any new information. We actually didn't ask for new information on this item. Everything was debated at the Budget and Finance Committee. And they provide that on the package for that item 23425.
no, but we're looking at 235 right now.
Oh, no, we are in 234 right now.
We're in, where are we at? Oh, we're in 230.
234. Yeah, 234, yeah.
We have,
Councilor Levy?
yeah. We have a chief over here that maybe can explain, so we have some question on regarding the 23425. The chief is over here.
Do you have a question?
No, I just want to respond. Thank you, Counselor Levy. However, the question behind, the reasoning and the purpose behind my question was, oftentimes we're asked to vote in favor of something, just receiving information the day of. I for sure don't operate that way. I don't want to operate that way, especially when we're giving hefty amount of information, data, numbers. Like, I'm not gonna be able to process everything as we're conducting this meeting. So if that's a way to answer why sometimes I vote the way I vote, it's because of this reason right now. And to Councilor Infante's to her defense, in the sense of when we're having these budget meetings during budget week, we've continuously asked for certain documentation and data, and it is not provided. So it is unfortunate that we're waiting and we have to resort to these measures in order to get the information that it is required for us to make these decisions. You know? So I just wanted to give you an answer as to why I was asking these questions.
All right, thank you. Any other
Council
councilors?
President? Yes.
Councilor Levy?
Okay. So one thing is that we have to remember is when we are in a committee and we ask for something or for any documentation, we should leave the document at the committee and not to send it to the council. And most of these documents were sent to the full council with favor recommendation. Means for me that everything that I got in my front, was completely approved and that we have all the documents that support the item. So from now, and that is something that we've been talking in a different committee. So if we don't have the document that support this item, we're gonna keep it in here, and if we send it to the full council, okay, it's gonna be pending. When we don't have that at the full council, we should, okay, we can table. But we had no time to discuss those items the day that were presented to the full council.
Councilor Levy?
Yes.
Essentially, what you're saying is how the council should do the work, and it's going to be up to the council whether or not, up to the councilor whether or not they want to make a determination. If the full council, at the committee level, they support the item for one way or another, a week later it could be that other information have arrived, other situations have arrived, and by all means, we are not in the position to tell the councilors, if it is at the full council, we should take a determination, because they are entitled to their own vote, because they were elected for that. I understand how the committee usually operate, but that's not necessarily the only case. Councilors can feel one way or another way, and that's respectful.
Yes, I do
Through you,
respect,
Mr. President.
Council President, through you, I do respect, what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that when it's coming in here to the full council, whoever is not part of the committee also should be led, to speak, to make a question, or to do, or request also the information. So we should not table an item that is not being discussed at the full level. That is my question.
Again, Councilor Levy, we shouldn't tell the councilors when to table, when not to table.
Thank you, Council President.
We shouldn't, because that's part of the procedures. The table matters is here for a reason, and that reason could be defined as you would like, as a councilor. You have the freedom to do so. But you cannot tell councilors, we can't do that. No, it is part of the procedures. And that's been decoded and respectful. Councilor Reyes.
Through you, Mr. President. Through this process, through this item, to include the whole process, it's not only frustrating for some of my colleagues, it's frustrating for everyone, because it's very frustrating for me, because when we have any department in front of us, through the full council, we have the opportunity to request what we want. But follow the question to my colleague, Councilor Levy, when we table the item, we have the right to table, but we eliminate the opportunity to bring the discussion and bring more detail. When you table it immediately, you cut the opportunity to make questions from us. You cut the opportunity to asking for more results, because through the table item, it's not discussion.
Yes.
And it's very frustrating for me, because every item, I know through the budget, they are working very hard, because I follow every session through Favor Life, but at the same time, when we be through the full council, when you table any kind of item, you eliminate the opportunity to make questions. Thank you.
No, and I agree. That procedure of tabling, it wasn't done by this council, actually. As a matter of fact, that's part of our rules and part of the rules of order. It is there. If we want to change that, yeah, if we want to change that, we can make it as part of our rule that we allow discussion on public on table matters. But the intent of that, when somebody put those rules on the book, was not to have a discussion on a table matters. And then the point is like we're going around what we believe is right and what we believe is wrong. But that's been there for such a long time, and we question it now, that instead of focusing on the potential discussion of how to advance those items. And
I want to mention to you, Mr. President,
Councilor Reyes?
because my colleague Marlon is not comfortable because the documentation is needed today. But we had a special meeting before, we had a special meeting on Thursday, we tabled the whole item. We can request the information last special meeting we had on Thursday, but it's not moving forward, we ending the meeting very quickly. So we also need to think and to provide. See, we need something, use the meeting we have to request. You can table it after that, but when I looking for some information and I go and visit in any department and I want to clarify for any case that I want to have more information, I go and visiting any department and asking. See, I need more information, I use the meeting and asking. So, but we had a special meeting last Thursday with the same agenda we have today. So, we can have the opportunity to asking last weekend for the documentation, and then we have more time to review.
Yeah, Councilor
So,
Reyes.
I want to explain that.
Yes, and I'm glad that you're asking that. On Thursday, we had this meeting. No, yeah, we had this meeting on Thursday.
And also
Give
we
me
have a
give me 1
meeting
minute.
Monday.
Give me 1 minute. I'm having a conversation with Councilor Reyes. Councilor Reyes, we have this meeting on Thursday. No information was provided on Thursday. But wait. This information was provided today. If the council feel like they should do something with it, digest that information, and be able to be comfortable taking a vote on any of these items, they are entitled to. because information was provided today. It's some councilors prefer not to have it on the same day, prefer digital information. If the effort was done, an email was sent by the administration on Thursday night, but the information was provided today. It's up to the council to make a determination. So that's what it is. Council Levy.
What I said that also we had a meeting on Monday, last Monday, and that is when everything was tabled without letting us to do any question or request any information. So this is the third meeting that we have regarding
Well, you see,
all this
Council
item.
Levy, you see how bad it is? We have a meeting a week ago. The information was provided today.
But we did not ask for any information.
information was
because
asked.
everything was tabled.
No. The information of record.
Immediately the table, the
Council
item,
Levy.
Council President, through you, the information, the item was brought out of the table, or what brought to the council, and immediately was tabled. So my colleague in here, Councilor Pran, said, how come that we gonna have an item, take them out and immediately table? Because we are not having any question. We are not having any request. We haven't heard from you guys why we are tabling all of this item. We haven't any information.
Council Levy, the information was requested.
We don't even know that information was requested. I'm sorry.
But the information was requested. The information was requested, and it's up to the council to even table today, because that's a part of the process. As a matter of fact, I will read something that is important. If the council vote today on table items, ask the council for the 30 days to be waived in all items. Free cash expire on June 30. And the revolving funds need to be reauthorized to be operate on July 1st. As per the law, give me 1 minute, as per the Mass General Law, the council have until tomorrow to vote on the revolving account. And we can have that reading for the record as well.
Council
If-
President,
Councilor Vice President Infante.
thank you. The master, and this is why the city attorney should always be in these meetings. Did you, by any chance, did you speak with the city attorney regarding that? Did he confirm that?
I wasn't able to speak with him about that specific, but the law is very clear.
If I may, Marlene Checo, Comptroller's Office, 200 Common Street. Free cash expires June 30th, which is today. We cannot discuss this after today for the revolving accounts or the free cash transfers. I just wanted to clarify. And then I understand exactly where all of you guys are coming from. My staff actually created this report. I do want to clarify that the request for detailed information for the revolving accounts, it was a communication had with my boss, Ramona, so I'm not directly involved, but my understanding was she was made that request on Wednesday of last week. On Thursday, me and her met, and I had my staff work on this, and we provided that information immediately as an email. I don't know who she sent that to. The information that we received back was that it was not detailed enough, and so on Friday, we worked harder to get all of the information. So those are the reports that you have in front of you. I feel like it's important for me to clarify that because it was on Friday that we received the request, processed it, and then today's Monday. We also work until 1:30 on Friday. We had an employee retire. So there was a lot happening. I really do apologize. I do hope that we can work together to try to get your reports provided in a more timely manner. But I hope that that helps clarify the information. But I would like to note that today is the last day to either approve or deny these requests. June 30th, free cash expires.
Yeah, the free cash is one thing, the revolving, we're gonna read the Mass General Law on the revolving accounts.
The revolving accounts needs to be approved today, June 30th.
No, it's, let's read the Mass General, guys, give me a minute, let's read the Mass General Law, which mandate? On the Mass General Law, section of the revolving account.
The section I'm reading is section 53E1 of Mass General Law. I don't, the chapter's 44, section 53E1.
And then
Sorry,
the
yep.
last day.
It just says,
The
a
date.
revolving fund shall be established pursuant to the section bylaw ordinance. The city shall, on or before July 1st of each year, vote on the limit and the total amount that may be expended from each revolving fund established under this section. In any fiscal year, the limit on the amount that may be spent from a revolving fund may be increased with the approval of the city council and the mayor in a city with approved a board of selectmen by the finance committee in a town. So the state law does state June 1 for a revolving fund, but
On or before July 1st. Yep. So that's the Mass General Law regarding to the revolving funds.
So would you guys be able to have a meeting tomorrow?
We have a meeting tomorrow.
Okay,
We have a meeting tomorrow.
okay,
Regular meeting.
okay.
So these items are on the agenda because it's a table matter.
Okay.
So if it's not today, it's fine if it is tomorrow. Yeah, we will discuss it eventually.
Thank you.
Thank you, councilors.
No problem. So, councilors, we are discussing item 24325, which is an underlying motion to approve by Councilor Vice President Infante, and it was seconded by Councilor Santiago.
that was back on June 23rd, that motion was made, and they have accepted a friendly amendment from the council.
On the free cash, yes, we have to make a decision today.
Council
I
President,
think it will be important if we clarify those dates. Councilor Vice President Infante.
thank you, through you, Council President. I would like to hear from the police chief. It's been a while. Nothing has changed. Information hasn't changed, but it's been a while since this was brought up. So just to go over, I know we have this new account designated for Police Department capital improvements. Can you just give us a quick snippet again, if that's okay, Council President?
Good evening, everyone. So I think, are we speaking about the May 28th memorandum regarding capital improvement? Is that,
This is the
one, Madam
transfer
Chair?
for the 492,770.34.
Yes, so I have a memorandum before me dated May 28th, 2025, and it outlines what we need as far as the amount of $492,770 plus 34 cents. The transfer was requested for specifically 26 medical kits, 9,750, 26 automatic external defibrillators at 65,000, 3 Ford Explorer Cruisers at 201,641, 60 tasers at 169,677, and 1 unmarked Explorer, $46,702. That is my understanding of what the necessity of it was as far as the needs for this particular transfer, and that is what is intended to be used for.
All right, councilors, we have a memo from May 28th, stating those transfers.
Maybe he has it on record.
Take your time. Oh, what's that? Oh, okay.
All right, councilors, any other questions in regard to this matter? This is for the police department. Just to clarify from the free cash, I wanna make sure that we clear on this. Can you
I
please
do
come back?
have a question. Council President.
Just one little thing.
Thank you.
If the council do not vote today on this favorably, that means that we're gonna have to wait until when?
September is my understanding.
September what?
I don't have the exact date, but it would be sometime in September when free cash gets certified again.
Okay. All right. Councilor Luzon.
Yes, through you, Council President, I would like to ask Chief Aguilar. I see here, Chief, that the department intends to buy 4 Explorers, 4 Explorers, I'm mispronouncing that, and 4 cars.
Correct.
Can you explain?
Give me 1 minute. Can you, or, do you mind closing the door, please? Thank you so much.
Yes, can you mind explaining why do we need 4 cruisers? Oh, yeah, 3 cruisers and 1 unmarked.
Yes, the 4 represent replacements for 4 vehicles that we're currently moving over to for auction. They've reached their end of life. At this point, we have certain cruisers that are being shared by the several shifts. So those vehicles are 24/7, 7 days a week, no holidays, no time off. And that brings an end of life to the cruiser's utility rather quickly. Right now, I have 4 cruisers that are slated to go to auction, where we can try to get as much as we can back from that auction and reintroduce it back into this particular line item. But it's not substantial, but these are just replacement vehicles, I guess, is the short of it.
Through you, Council President.
Councilor
How
Luzon.
about the unmarked 1? So it's 4 actually, 3 and 1 unmarked.
Yes.
4 vehicles.
So 3 are marked, and what that means is
Why do
they're outfitted for the black and white cruisers that you see, Patrol Division, Cruising 1. 1 is unmarked, which is intended to replace one of the specialty units, whether it's detective or community policing.
Community policing. Do we have a count of how many cars do we have at the department so far? And who's using the cars? Do we have a
Oh, we
list of
certainly
that?
do. We certainly do. I have it in my office. I could forward that forthwith. I don't know, I don't venture to guess right off the top of my head.
I
but
understand.
we have several,
Chief,
yeah, we have several.
I would like to see a list of how many we have and who's actually driving, especially, well, whatever information you can share, if you can, I will appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions? Any other questions? I'll call the questions. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any nays? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Councilor Mamo?
Yes.
Councilor Santiago?
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Councilor Luzon?
Yes?
Councilor LaPlante?
Yes.
Councilor Levy?
Yes.
Council Vice President Infante?
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez?
I vote yes. Motion carries. Councilors, any other motion?
Council President,
Councilor Del Rosario.
motion to untable item 235/25, year-end transfer between departments accounts.
There's a motion, I think there is an underlying motion already on that. I mean, wait a minute. Motion to untable, yes, you're right. Motion to untable, it's been properly seconded by Councilor Reyes. All those in favor, please say
Aye.
aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. We have an underlying motion for that, correct?
Council President?
Item 23525, year-end transfer between departments account. We got information that we
I have it.
received from before.
And what is the underlying motion?
The underlying motion is motion to approve. And who's second?
You need one, we don't have one.
Just want to add a friendly amendment to that, to waive the 30 days if
The
possible.
underlying motion was made by Councilor Infante and seconded by Councilor Del Rosario back on June 23rd.
Vice President, if you accept a friendly amendment to waive the 30 days in case we approve it.
There's no need for that.
I accept.
Okay,
you.
motion has been made, properly second, friendly amendment has been made, and was accepted by Councilor President Infante. We have received some information for item 235. By the way, Marlene is here representing the CAFO. First time. Marlene, congratulations.
It's an honor to be in front of you guys, so thank you for your time tonight.
She's doing
Yeah, she's been great. I was working throughout the day with her on other items, and she was very helpful. So thank you.
Thank you, Council President.
Councilors, we have the year-end transfer from different departments. What this means? This means that there is some organizations or departments that have some money left over, and that's gonna be used within other services within the city. In particular, we have this one, which is one transfer that is gonna be for employee benefits, GIC, health insurance. It is expected to be $1.2 million more than what is expected. Do you mind explaining that?
Of course. So I do apologize. I wish that I had more detailed information. I didn't realize that I was going to be presenting until Friday morning, so please forgive me in advance. But so when it comes to the year-end transfers, what we do per Mass General laws, we are able to, let me just make sure. So Mass General laws allows us to make transfers between departments annually to get rid of any deficits that may appear before we close the books. So the goal of these year-end transfers is to clear any deficits within the departments before we close the fiscal year. Council President asked about the employee GIC benefits. So we estimate every year how much we expect that we will spend in insurance, health insurance. But as you know, costs are constantly rising. We get more employees. Sometimes employees will sign up for family health plans. Employees have children, and those increased costs can bring up that number. And so as much as we try to estimate, this year we are requesting to transfer that amount into that account.
So councilors, we have a couple of things here. There is item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different departments that are transferring. The number one, which caught my attention, was the one on the employee benefits. The other ones was the cemetery. The cemetery has been, it's been presented with different non-used funds and $30,000 overtime. The fire department is presented with $12,000 transfer for different things that are going to be used by fire suppression, and parking enterprise funds. There's going to be a couple of transfers, $131,785 and $21,835 for the total amount of $153,620. Loan interest, overtime, permanent salary, and water and sewer for that parking enterprise fund. The April enterprise fund was also presented with $12,300, and the water and sewer enterprise fund, it was presented with $12,371. Any questions, Councilor? Any questions in regard to the year-end transfers? I hear none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Levy.
Yes.
Councilor LaPlante.
Yes.
Councilor Luzon.
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor Santiago. Yes. Councilor Marmol.
Yes.
Councilor Reyes.
Yes.
Council Vice President Infante.
Yes.
Council President
I
Rodriguez.
vote yes. Motion carries. Any other items?
Council President,
Councilor Rosario.
I would like to make a motion on table item 236/25, the authorization of Bellevue Cemetery revolving fund accounts, expedite limit of $95,000.
It's been, the motion into on table, it's been made by Councilor Rosario, second by Councilor Reyes. All those in favor, please say aye.
Roll
Aye.
call.
Roll call, please.
To untable document 23625.
Just call the roll.
Councilor Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Marmol.
No.
Councilor Santiago. Yes. Councilor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor Luzon.
Yes.
Councilor LaPlante.
Yes.
Councilor Levy.
Yes.
Council Vice President Infante.
No.
Council President Rodriguez.
I vote no. What's the count?
6-3.
Motion carries. What is the underlying motion on that, Madam Chair? Madam Clerk?
It's a motion to approve.
And I would
It's a
also,
motion to approve. It was
Discussion.
made by,
This is 2:30, I don't know if it's
23625.
36 right now. And why is it 30?
Yeah, it
yeah, I
will
would like
be.
to, motion to approve, I would like to offer a friendly amendment to waive the 30 days. if-
Yeah, it's a
if
friendly
approved.
amendment waive,
I
I mean, it was
accept.
done by,
I accept.
Thank you.
Councilor Infante made all of the motions to approve on those items.
Discussion.
Councilor, Vice President Infante.
Thank you, Council President. I voted no to untable because I would like the, tonight, was this, were these emailed to us?
No.
No, right?
36.
Okay. So I'm gonna be, for my colleagues and for the public, I'm gonna be voting no on the revolving accounts. So I can have tonight when I get home, to review these packets that we received right before our meeting.
Councilor Vice President Infante, it is important to notice that there were two accounts
yeah.
that there was, information was sent ahead of time without,
Yes, and yep, I'm aware of those two.
yeah.
Yep.
So if it is based on that, I just want to put that up there.
Thank you for the clarification, Council President.
Okay, we have, for the cemetery, we have the reauthorization of the Boulevard Cemetery revolving account with the expenditure limit up to $95,000. When we're talking about the expenditure limit, that means that any amount of dollars that they receive, they can only spend up to $95,000. That's the expenditure. As per the law, the council can reauthorize the accounts tomorrow with the expenditure limit that is different than the $95,000. It could be that the $12,000, the $95,000 become another amount, and that's also fine. I just based on the research that we have done in the last few days, those things are things that arise, and if one of those accounts, councilors are not fine or comfortable voting in favor of on a specific amount, that amount could be modified by the council. It is within our right to do so, and then subsequently, when that account get to the end of that, the council can act on a petition from the mayor asking for those accounts to be increase those limits. That's within the state law. That's also within our right to vote. At this point, we are talking about a revolving account for the Bellevue Cemetery for up to $95,000, and that's for the item 23625. Any questions?
The Councilor Del Rosario made a motion. Councilor Del Rosario, a friendly amendment, and that was
It was a
accepted.
second.
Thank you, I missed that.
Mm. Friendly amendment, the friendly amendment was second by Councilor Reyes?
She accepts it.
Oh, no, sorry. Never mind. You're right.
It's not friendly. then.
Yeah, it was not, if it is a motion, it's not friendly. All right, councilors, discussion, Councilor Vice President Infante.
Oh, no, I wasn't. Thank you, I wasn't.
Oh, okay. I
Thank
thought
you.
you wanna,
Thank
okay. Councilors, any questions in regard to these accounts? It is important to recognize that also information was requested around these items, off record and on record, for the purpose of getting to, or making an educated decision about those revolving accounts. Any councilors, any questions?
Motion to table.
Second.
There is a motion to table.
I'm sorry, I don't think anyone answered. I want to give the opportunity. Any other, if I
Yeah,
can, any other
I can
questions?
entertain the
Is
motion
that
to table.
okay?
Now we're gonna have send dilemma, but as a courtesy, we can actually
Yeah, well, you know,
allow the conversation to fluid. Any other councilors, any questions? You have anything to add?
Yes, please, thank you.
No, well, ask for the floor.
Sorry, yeah. I did just background about the revolving funds, and I will make sure to email each of you the reports that you have in front of you as well. So just to give a little bit of overview, all of the revolving funds being submitted tonight, all the ones before you, in previous fiscal years, when these revolving funds were authorized, this created an account per section 53E 1-2 of chapter 44 of the general laws that allowed departments to generate revenues for the designated revolving account as requested by each document number tonight. Reauthorizing or approving the authorization of each revolving fund would allow the department to spend their previous year's earnings in the following fiscal year. With each of these revolving funds, the city is asking all of you honorable counselors to.
Do you mind repeating for the record the section that you just mentioned on the Mass General Law?
Oh, of course. Section 53E 1-2 of
Okay.
chapter 44 of the Mass General Laws.
All right, we just want to make sure that we notice that.
So
That's it.
reauthorizing or approving the authorization of each revolving fund would allow the department to spend their previous year's earnings in the following fiscal year. With each of these revolving funds, the city is asking each of you honorable counselors to authorize the establishment of each fund with an annual expenditure limit as specified in the actual document number. And all of the revolving funds conditions are the same, so I'm gonna go ahead and read them now. All fees, dues, payments received in connections with the activities of the department's revolving fund shall be deposited into the fund for the purposes and activities of the department and may be expended without further appropriation. The fund balance at year end carries forward to the next fiscal year if reauthorized. If not reauthorized, the fund balance closes to the general fund unless it is transferred to another departmental revolving fund. Expenditures from this revolving fund shall be authorized by the department's director and shall not exceed the balance in the fund. The director shall provide a report including all receipts and expenditures of this fund to the mayor on a quarterly basis and to the city council on an annual basis in accordance with the provisions of section 53E1-2 of chapter 44 of the general laws. No expenditures may be made from this fund for the purpose of paying full or part-time employees' wages or salaries unless the revolving fund is also charged for the cost of fringe benefits associated with those salaries paid. Each revolving fund requires authorization for each ensuing fiscal year, and each fund, if approved tonight or tomorrow, would hereby be authorized through June 30th, 2026.
Thank you.
All right. Councilors, any questions in regard to that, to this specific revolving fund account? Do you mind going over how the Bellevue Cemetery receive funds?
Yeah, so the cemetery director is not here tonight, so I will do my best. So on one of the forms that is cemetery revenues, what you'll see is that their funds are from majorly, let me see here. Their funds are from containers. So they are, receive revenue for the plots of land that people need for their family members. And then for their expenditures are grounds and cleaning related, so maintaining the cemetery in order, repairs and maintenance for equipment, operating supplies for the office and as well as the grounds, and then the purchase of grape boxes. So you will see all of the revenue is just one item. It's cemetery container fund foundations.
There is a lot of questions when it comes to the expenditures. I was trying to have a normal conversation with the director today. but that was not possible. Uh, I was expecting her to be here so I can ask questions, but I mean, she's not. I can see here just for the records that the cemetery, the Bellevue Cemetery, have expenditures related to General Boltman's Great LLC, Amazon's India Valdez, Means Precast, Amazon, JC Power Associate, American Cemetery Supplies, Nidia Valdez, New England Cemetery Association, Amazon, Gerald Botman's, Amazon, Harvest Signs, Amazon's, Saint Sweeney, Means Precast, Colisi Memorial, Amazon's, Leonardo Rodriguez.
Council President?
Councilor Espresso Infante.
Thank you. Aside from the summit, I believe mostly all of these revolving accounts are going to have items similar or differently, but, and we just received, to your point, a detailed, because you did attempt the first time, we've just received a detailed report on these accounts. And I think it is a fair ask to table these items so we can review it tonight and gather all our questions, so then, you know, we're not then, people are not saying, oh, you guys didn't come prepared, you guys didn't ask all the questions, et cetera. I would like that opportunity. I heard another colleague would like that opportunity.
Yeah.
And I just think it's pointless to go through every line item when we have a report for every fund. And then we can come back tomorrow with the questions when
Yeah,
we're better prepared.
I understand that. There is one thing that caught my attention, though, that I would like to bring him up. As per the law, you mentioned that this revolving funds account cannot be used for permanent or temporary employees?
Unless their fringe benefits are also being paid from that revolving fund.
I'm seeing here that, I don't know if I'm looking at it right, I forgot my glasses today, but I'm seeing here that there is overtime for the amount of $29,738 on the expenditures. Can you at least look into that? Because I mean, as per the law, you cannot have,
So the cemetery closes later in the year, and there is a lot of activities, a lot of overtime that is charged to the account. My understanding is there is a lot of issues at the cemetery where staff is constantly being called to report to the cemetery after working hours. There have
so, we just approving $30,000 on the previous item for overtime for the cemetery. On the revolving account, I see another $29,000 overtime for this item. And we have on the budget about close to $38,000 also overtime from this. But what caught my attention very deep, it was that you just mentioned on your statement that the revolving funds account cannot be used for permanent or temporary employees. Do you mind repeating that?
Of course. So, no expenditures may be made from this fund for the purpose of paying full or part-time employees' wages or salaries unless the revolving fund is also charged for the costs of fringe benefits associated with the wages or salaries paid.
That means a lot. Do you
Fringe
know what
benefits
that
are
means?
health insurance.
Oh, for health insurance?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So, but not for permanent or temporary employees, right?
So if they are paying for salaries and wages, they also have to pay for the employees' health insurance and Medicare costs. So those are fringe benefits.
So, at the end of the day, are we allowed to use these funds for temporary employees, permanent employees? Or no?
Yes.
Eh? Yes, no? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot. We can continue the conversation later on.
No, you're not. The bullet is very clear. You can pay for full or part-time employees' wages if you are also covering their fringe benefit costs. Does that answer the question?
Usually, if I may, Council
Black,
President, usually that means like if that amount, well, it seems large, like $30,000 is probably relatively small for all the employees and all the overtime over the whole year. So what it typically means is if that's a tenth of the employee's salary or the tenth of the overtime, then a tenth of their health insurance should also be coming out of that account too. So it may already be included in that number, I'm not sure, but it is, there are other laws that have similar restrictions in other departments, and they just do, or some of the grants, if you have a admin, you have to also include the admin's benefit. That's not an uncommon clause, and they would just account for that in that number. That.
All right, councilors,
Motion
we
to
have,
table.
and that's why it is important to have this detailed information. It is important for the public to know also that the council have received the original memo, the council have received the year-end balance, the expenditure of the total amount of that was put into the account, the expenditure of that account, and then the balance, the total balance of the account at the end of the fiscal year. So those were the 4 or 5 numbers that were provided to the council for nothing like this. And that's why, because of, we wanted to be able to authorize those accounts, wanted to see all this information. And I'm glad that we have this, because that's exactly what the council means when it comes to authorizing the revolving funds. The revolving fund could be, at some point, be seen as something that is not. And being transparent and clear, we're receiving this information today, which is great. Thank you so much.
Motion to table.
Second.
Motion to table has been made, Councilor Vice President Infante. The administration would like to have an opportunity. Will you withdraw your motion?
No,
Or-
because I want the opportunity to
All right.
have a
I'll-
better informed discussion.
It's
if
concerning
that's
the
okay.
overtime.
Okay.
It's
Uh,
concerning the
okay.
overtime, it's relevant. It's
withdraw your
within
motion.
district, all right, Councilor
Withdraw my
Rosario?
motion.
So let's allow the administration.
Yes, when it comes to overtime uses, I think sometimes, people are naive to what the cemetery is all about. That's normal. I mean, if you're not if you don't follow the activities, it's kind of difficult to know. People die anytime. Burial doesn't happen from Monday to Fridays. They also happen during the weekends. So anytime there's activities that needs to happen, the cemetery needs to be open. During winter time, if there's any snow removal, let's say there's a burial, that requires also
Council President.
activities.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Senior Advisor, but I'm going to respectfully ask, I know you just started, if we can have the Chief of Staff explain this to us.
Yeah,
further.
I think that I know what you're referring to. There's no conflict here.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Trust me. There's a conflict with Octavian, but there's no conflict here.
I just want to make
It's
sure
just
we're
to-
doing the right thing here,
No,
so,
yeah,
and I know you
definitely.
understand that, so,
I'm
okay.
responding because sometimes, let's say, 9 people, some of you are not involved, let's say, with the cemetery, but it's part of it, and sometimes the questions is, why are you paying overtime? Why do you have to send people over? Why the overtime hours are so high? Well, before, the cemetery was open on a regular basis. Now you need an employee to go back during the weekend and close especially during summer, to close the cemetery. Because before you had drug activities there, you had prostitution as part of it, and also gang-related activities that one rival gang with the other would destroy the different tombs in the cemetery. If I'm not correct, I think Councilor Rosario I think you also was within your district. Thank you.
Councilors,
Motion to table.
motion to table. Can I hear a second? Properly second by Councilor Marmo. No discussion on the table matters. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No.
Any nays? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
This is on the motion to table. Counselor Reyes?
No.
Motion to table. Okay.
Counselor Marmal?
Yes.
Counselor Santiago?
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario?
No.
Counselor Luzon?
Yes.
Counselor LaPlante?
No.
Counselor Levy?
No.
Council Vice President Infante?
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez?
Vote yes, what's the count?
5-4 in favor of tabling.
Okay, motion carries. Councilors, what's the other any other motions?
Council President,
Councilor Luzon,
I have a question.
until we have an item, we can discuss that.
Oh, no, yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Council President,
Councilor Marmo,
can we do a motion to untable item 23825?
that's your desire?
Second.
It's been properly second. To untable, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. That's item, you say item 135?
238?
Oh, 238, okay. Sorry.
Discussion.
238, to untable, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Item 23825, the reauthorization of the recreational and park self-supporting services revolving accounts. This account is a little different than the other ones. This account, the intent of this account is to spend every money that we have on there. The state law actually was configured to allow all the funds except for $10,000. And that's the difference between this account and the other account. Correct, Madeleine?
That is correct, Council President.
Thank you.
Council President, to you.
Councilor Del Rosario.
Consent then to the Vice President, if you accept the friendly
I
amendment to waive the
accept.
30 days, in
I
case we
accept.
approve it. Thank you.
Councilor Vice President
Discussion.
Infante have accepted the friendly amendment of waiving 30 days. Councilors, any questions? I mean, we have an underlying motion at this point. And the underlying motion is to, motion to approve. It was second
Discussion.
by, okay, it was second by Councilor Mamo. Discussion on this, on this specific revolving account.
Discussion.
Councilor, Councilor Vice President Infante.
Thank you. Through you, Council President. I know this is, perhaps some of my colleagues won't understand, but I still hold my stance on wanting to review this, because it's more detailed and there are numbers. You're not just looking at the comments, you're looking at numbers too. And I know that the director has been here advocating, and I appreciate that. But I just, to give my colleagues a response as to why I still feel that it's the same way for every item, but yeah, that's all I want to say.
All right, we have the director here. Director?
Okay. Okay, so basically our revenues come in from, when we have our summer program, we collect trip money. So if a field trip to Cannibal Lake is $40, the parents pay 20, the city pays the other 20. So when we collect these monies, they come in. If we rent a park for someone having a tournament that's not part of Little League or that it's not free, we bring in that income. So last year, we brought in $17,273. As you can see underneath, there was a mistake that there was money that was supposed to be in the stadium fund was put into this revolving account, and it was transferred out, and it went into, and if you look at the stadium account, it went there. That was a mistake on our end. And as far as expenses, as I say, because we don't charge for parks, and we do a lot of things hoping to help our community, our money comes in and we pay for the expenses of what the summer program is. If you look at the first expenditure, it's a PO for the Cannibal Lake. to go buy the tickets to Cannibal Lake, because we do have to purchase them ahead of time. We can't just show up to Cannibal Lake and say, we need 200 tickets. The other things are operational, and it says operational supplies for parks. We try to be, as per CAFO, in our comments in Munis, we try to really detail what we're spending our money on.
Council President?
Councilor President Infante.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. Quick question. I mean, this is a relatively short report, so I might change my mind on this. But can you explain to me the park rental situation? So is that when you're renting a park outside of the city, or is that
For
city-owned?
someone that's coming from outside and having a tournament, if they have a tournament that's gonna generate income, anytime somebody's gonna generate income, we should be renting our parks. If they're doing it for free for kids, then we don't charge.
Okay, thank you. And I know that for some reason, my brain processed it as the department renting out itself, like the department itself renting out the park, so my brain is a little,
problem.
thank you.
Any other questions? Councilor Marmo.
Out of curiosity, are there different fees for those that are non-residents versus those that do reside here?
No.
Pretty sure.
So it's
But
all
we
the
should
same
be.
fee?
Yes, we're looking at doing that. We're
okay.
developing a whole structure of how we're gonna charge for parks.
All right, because I know when I served at Greater Lawrence Tech, they do have some sort of like difference in fees when when it's going to be used by either an alumni or if it has, GLTS students part of the program, so.
I do that with the center rental. When we rent the center, we charge differently for nonprofits than we do for outside organizations.
Any other councilors?
Council President,
Councilor Luzon?
Director Velez, the baseball fields, where do I see those numbers reflected here? Yeah, but I mean, the amount, it's for the amount of people that I seen.
No, baseball fields are free.
Okay.
The leagues use the parks for free.
Is that new?
It's been since Mayor Brian A. DePena came in. The mayor came in and they leave a deposit.
They leave a deposit.
So they fill out their permit and we take a deposit of $550. And if they leave the parks dirty or if they cause any kind of damage, we keep the $550. And then we void their permit. If they want to use the park again, they have to come back, give another $550 deposit and get another permit.
But for the amount of league that we have in the city and the tournaments that are actually making money out of the tournament, I see the numbers are
Totally
very
agree.
low.
Totally agree, but
I mean,
I've been working diligently
I know
to
you
try
are.
and make sure that I understand when tournaments happen. It actually has been a struggle, because people will say to you, it's not a tournament, not a tournament. And, we can't work 7 days a week, but if we know something, we go and ask, or we call the league presidents. We've come a long way with league presidents. We try to have at least, like, we just had a meeting last week because we were having some issues about some of the parks and, drinking in the parks. So we brought all the league presidents in and told them, what the rules are and how we can take that money away. So we're working diligently. I think that I have spoken to the mayor, and we are working on creating a pay scale and creating fairness all the way across.
through you, Council President, so they go
Councilor
to
Luzon.
other cities and they have to pay to use the softball fields.
Absolutely.
And they come here and people that live here, and I'm very familiar with the softball fields, believe me. I know them. I know the people that play there. So it doesn't make a lot of sense because the amount of work and all the calls that you get from me and maybe from other counselors, it doesn't make sense. So.
I understand your concern. I think the most important thing is, it actually has taken me 3 years to get to a point of understanding how they all function and how all their tournaments function. And they actually, at the beginning of the year in January, we call them in, and they have to give us dates for tournaments, and we black out those dates now. And if you don't give me a date for a tournament, you cannot use the park, and no one is allowed to share their permit. If you share your permit, you lose your ability to use the park. So
And
we're putting all these rules and regulations in place to try to get to a better system. And I think that, for me, the charging part is essential, but I think organizing it is more essential. And then once we get that in place, then I think there can't be no, oh, but I, oh, but we, oh, but I didn't. It's written, black and white.
I do understand that, but I mean, how can a city function without not charging? I mean, they pay, if they go to other cities, they have to pay. If they go to Haverhill, they have to pay to use their softball fields, their baseball field. If they go to Methuen, they have to. So why are we giving something for free? And I understand, and you have done an amazing job dealing with all the directors, because I know most of them, and it's hard work. But it's still, this is a city. We are providing a service, and we need something in return. I was impressed with the amount of money that I saw here, because it doesn't make, based on the amount of people that use the softball fields, it doesn't make sense. But I do understand where you're coming from and the hard work that you put into this. And it's getting more organized, but it's still, money should come in because we are offering a service. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilor Luzon. Any other councilors? Any other councilors? I'll pass the gavel. Councilor Vice President. I have a few questions to you, Madam Vice
Council
President.
President.
Thank you. Well, Martha, thank you for everything that you have provided, and how this whole conversation has been evolved, and your willingness to provide information.
Thank you.
That make a huge difference when it comes to making a determination. I also wanted to say that I'm ready to make a decision on this specific revolving account, not because of what the mayor has said throughout. Instead, I'm ready to make a determination, not based on pressure, but based on information that you have put up in front of us for how you have managed the situation. Information was asked, information was provided. You took a couple opportunities to step up to the mic and speak on behalf of your accounts as of why you think it's important to keep on advocating for those services, those essential services that are not quite provided on the operating budget. So for that, I'll definitely appreciate what you have done.
Thank you.
And that means a lot. That means a lot to the constituents. I did not make a determination on these two accounts before because information was not enough. And as soon as you hear that, nobody have asked you. Instead, you send an email. Different than other accounts, that was not the case. I definitely appreciate that on your end. And I definitely appreciate the fact that you're willing to respond to any questions. I didn't appreciate the fact that the mayor took this opportunity to play games and to play politics. That's wrong. Absolutely wrong. It is completely different of what you're doing here at this level, how we call it down here, and what he's doing upstairs. It is a completely disconnection between the importance of those services that you are advocating for and the politics that the mayor is playing with these funds. Those funds were approved, or those accounts were approved to be authorized until June 30. And today is June 30. And if those funds, and if those services or those programs were not allowed or were not running today, it was not because we didn't approve the funds, because the funds is supposed to be spent tomorrow or July 1st or after that. So essentially, having these seniors and youth taking those two topics to play games around and stuff is difficult. But I'm glad that you're still around. You're still around as a servant, not as an employee, because you do more than what an employee do. You serve the community with your effort, with your time, and with your dedication. And we actually took you as an example a couple of days ago with another employee that come in front of us, seeing that role model that you present to the different employees. That essentially, that's what we're looking forward to see in the future. So thank you for doing what you're doing. I appreciate it.
I appreciate your comments. I work at the discretion of the mayor alongside all of you. I really do believe that it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to run this city. I'm a resident of the city of Lawrence. I love my city. I've been here since I was 5 years old, and I am a public servant. I work for the people alongside all of you to make us better. So I'm here to always open my doors. I'm human. I can make mistakes. I'll be the first one to admit my mistakes, but I am always open to hear your concerns and to acknowledge if something needs to be changed. I am a communicator. I think communication plays a big role in everybody's life. So again, whatever you need from us, I would give to you, just because, number one, we're transparent. Number two, we are a public entity. And number three, we're here to serve everybody that's out there. And when I serve elders and children, I'm serving families, and that means all of us, because I have kids, grandchildren. Everybody has something that's attached to something else, so.
Council President?
Thank you, Director. Councilor Luzon.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just a quick question. Were the services interrupted at the senior center today, or Friday, or Thursday?
They were not.
Okay. And any services provided by Recreation Department were interrupted?
As of today, no.
Oh, thank you so much. For the record, no services were interrupted. Thank you.
And to clarify, as we read earlier, per Mass General laws, we have these funds need to be approved on or before July 1st. So there's that. Any other questions or comments for the director pertaining this item? Seeing none, Councilor Levy.
It's just a comment. I want to thank you, Malta, for all the work that you've been doing. And always you've been smiling to everybody that's coming to the center or outside the center. And I see you on Sunday morning, Saturday, it doesn't matter the day or the time, that we need you. You are there for us and for the community. Thank you so much for everything that you've been doing.
A pleasure.
Thank you, Councilor Levy. Any other questions or comments for Director Valdez or Councilor Marmol?
I'll be brief. Through you, Madam Vice Chair. I love how you advocate for your department. You are always prepared. And the reason why I'm going to vote in favor of this revolving account being approved is because I must say it's only 2 pages. So as we were waiting for this meeting to start, I was going over it, and it was easy for me to understand what was coming in and what was coming out. However, had it been 5, 6, 7 pages, I would have been inclined to keep it tabled just to allow myself the amount of time to go over it. And with that being said, these are the things that I personally was looking for. And I think you do an amazing job, and everybody knows it. And I think it's important to give people their flowers, especially when they're still alive and working for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Director Valdez, you know this because you go before the Budget and Finance Committee, but to the public, when we request these documents or when we get these documents, we actually do review these documents. And as you know, we actually do ask questions.
Yes, you do.
I believe there is an idea that we don't read the documents or we don't review the documents, but we actually do, and we ask the appropriate questions And we try to do our best to work with you. Like you said, it takes a village to work with the directors and get the process moving. All right. With that being said, there's a motion to approve. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Sure. Counselor Reyes? Counselor Mamo?
Yes.
Counselor Santiago?
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Counselor Luzon?
Yes.
Counselor LaPlante?
Yes.
Counselor Levy?
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez?
I vote yes.
Council Vice President Infante?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Motion carries.
Councilors, any other motions?
Council President,
Councilor Rosario?
motion on table, item 239/25, which has authorized veterans,
Second.
We skipped 237.
I'm actually taking it as the motion has been presented on table. So it's not all. So if the motion is presented to one specific, and then I open that up. What was for item what?
239/25.
Item 239-25, which is the authorization of Veteran Memorial Stadium revolving funds accounts
Second.
for the expenditure limit of $100,000. It's been properly seconded by Councilor Levy. This is a motion to on table. All those in favor, please say. Oh, I mean, I hear Ana Levy on this side. I'm sorry. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The motion carries. What's the underlying motion on this item? It's a motion to approve, and it was seconded by, item, this is 239.
I just, the motion, the initial motion to approve was, thank you, Councilor Santiago.
Councilor Santiago second the motion. The underlying motion to approve.
So who made the motion?
Councilor President Infante.
Council Vice President Infante, the same amendment, friendly amendment. If it is approved, waive 30 days. Thank you.
All right, there is a motion to approve. It's a friendly amendment to waive the 30 days. It was accepted. Discussion. Councilor Vice President Infante.
Thank you. Director Valdez, the second page of this report, can you just go through all this overtime? There's over 27,000 in overtime. What do we use that overtime for?
Okay, so I knew this would be the question, and I really, I actually called CAFO today. This is DPW workers. So it is by union contract that every time we rent or someone is using, meaning the schools, Central Catholic, the Voc, anybody using the stadium, there has to be a DPW worker there, and depending on the amount of people that they're there, is depending how many people go for overtime or how many people are there to work. This is another, I'm gonna be fully transparent, this is another one that we are working through, because there wasn't a lot of communication as to how many people were needed on a specific time. The union decides, like, depending on the crowd. So now we're having more conversations with DPW, and we actually exchange, numbers of the people that are going to the stadium and who's gonna be there, and so that we are in contact of who's gonna be there and knowing this. So, moving forward, we will have better detailed information. I've also instructed the Recreation Department on our end, when we give permission to use the stadium, for us to have it, whether it's a school activity or non-payment activity, or if it's a rental, and how many people went to, so that we have clear bookkeeping on both ends as to DPW's overtime and what we keep for overtime also.
So,
have
Councilor
another
Vice President Infante.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. Now, there are two items here from December 20th and May 29th that appears to be money coming in, because it's in parentheses within an expenditure chart. One for over $14,000 and another one a little over $8,000. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's actually my department. So we try to audit each of these accounts, and whenever we either feel or see that the charge, in this case it was for overtime, but we felt it was not appropriate for this account, we will transfer, reallocate it back to the account that it should be coming from. And so that would either come from the actual department head letting us know, oh no, this employee did not work overtime for the stadium, they worked overtime for another location. Or if we are looking at the timesheets, so that was a transfer because it should have been coming from a different account.
Thank you. And one last question, because I haven't seen this so far in the other reports. What does P/R mean? Under comments, run equals 0 city P/R.
PR at the end.
Payroll. Sorry.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And then I also would like to note too, all of these reports are done by charge code for the revenues. So charge codes are the fund accounts that we associate with a specific type of revenue source. It just makes it easier to kind of see. So for the revenue pages, you'll notice that there's a lot of 6-letter words. Those are the charge code associated with the type of revenue that the department is receiving. And that's just how we code it in the system. So PR stands for payroll. And that's all that's charged to this account is payroll, overtime.
Thank you.
Any other questions, councilors?
Salary.
I'm glad that the system to run the stadium is still being working out, because I wouldn't like to see the stadium to be similar to other municipal buildings, perhaps some school or sport facility on the schools that are so attached to employees that people are not able to use it at the end of the day. So that's something that scares me all the time. I mean, there is so many things that we can do to provide to the community, but they are so attached that, you know, to union contracts or to unions, employees and stuff like that. And I understand that everyone need to make money, but I mean, there is sometimes specific areas that we need to make sure that they're still accessible, even with the fees. And I hope that within the process of working this out, to ensure that things get rent out, and they're also people are allowed to, by money-wise, they're allowed to use it, that are not quite expensive. We can definitely develop a system that actually works for the people.
And that's exactly what I actually want to work at. I think it's a beautiful stadium. It should be used. We should have many more things there, in my opinion, my humble opinion. But I think one of the things that was missing, and it has gone into play because Director Jorge Hyman and myself have very good communications, and we're working towards making things easier and better, is by us knowing how many staff is needed for how many people. So that way, when we ask the person that's using the stadium, if they only need one person, then we're only gonna charge them for the overtime to cover that person. That's it, that's all it gets charged. And then the charge of the use of the stadium, which right now is $100 an hour.
Thank you for bringing this
Council
up.
President,
Councilor Luzon.
there's a few questions that I have, because Marlene mentioned, what is your title, Marlene?
I'm currently acting assistant comptroller.
Acting assistant.
Acting assistant.
Acting assistant.
Are we proud of her?
We are. I'm proud of you. That's, well, but anyways, you mentioned.
That's what I thought when she first came.
So what I see in the second page is payroll. We are paying overtime out of this account. So it brings me back to what you mentioned on general laws. How can we explain this? And it's a lot of overtime.
Yeah, so that's all that gets charged to this Veterans Stadium account. So whenever salaries are being charged, whether that be regular salaries or, in this case, overtime, the revolving fund also needs to compensate for their benefits, which is their health insurance and Medicare costs.
So Director Velez, is this taking place? Are you paying, because I see,
Well, that's just, no, it wasn't at the beginning. I'm being very honest.
I know
mean,
you are.
As we're learning all of this, right, it's a learning, bumping kind of vehicle. I wasn't aware of that.
Okay.
So when we were renting the stadium out, we would charge $45 an hour, because what we did is we took what the laborer is making and I put it at time and a half. But because of union contracts, it depends how many people are in the stadium. It depends what day they're working, because if they're working Saturdays, it's different pay than Friday night. If they're working Sunday, it's a different pay. So now what I'm developing is like a pay scale of, okay, if you rented this day, this is what you have to pay. If you rented this day, this is what you have to pay. And be very clear, this is the hourly. So we have them, understand that this is to rent the stadium, and that's what goes back into the revolving account. And that's something that stays in the stadium for something in the future if you want to do a program. But then you have to pay for the DPW worker, that's a union contract, you have to pay for them to be there. And that, at the end of the year, will be taken out to be paid for, or sometimes they do it yearly, monthly, and they write it all together, and then they take what that. So we will be giving a report that states, okay, we're depositing $2,000, and $2,000, $1,500 of it is for usage of stadium, and the other part is for the DPW worker.
but are we, and I know they send you to fix things, to fix departments, and you do an amazing job. But are we in compliance according to the general laws?
We are, because we're paying, that's what we're paying.
I
Okay.
can tell you that the payroll department constantly audits before they add in any payroll. They look through the laws, they look through the accounts, so they make sure that they are funding the accounts appropriately. So we definitely always try to make sure that we are maintaining compliance. And this account has been charged overtime. My understanding is for years. It's not something that is new, so yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Velez. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is important to recognize this is the first time that we received these reports. So that's why questions get raised. Councilor LaPlante?
So just help me understand it a little bit better. So I see in the revenue section that we are received about,
I can't hardly hear you. Sorry.
Can you use my mic?
so I'm seeing in the revenue section
Yes,
that we received almost $17,000.
yes.
And I see in the expenditures, we're spending over $27,000, so that's a net deficit. Is there enough money in the account to offset that deficit spending?
That's their question, for this one.
The exact answer, I will get back to you, but my understanding from all of these accounts, they cannot spend more than they have in the fund, and as well as more than what was appropriated by the counselors the previous year. But I will find that and get that answer back to you, if that's okay.
I also believe DPW takes on some of that expense.
So they're well within their, I'm presuming this is a cut and paste operation with this revolving fund. It's 100,000 this year, was probably 100,000 last year, it's probably been 100,000 for a little while, I'm gonna guess. So they're probably they are expending under the authorized expenditures that we provide every year is gonna be my educated guess. And I just, but it's, I think it's good to know that what the balance is over there. I fundamentally, I know these are not taxpayers' dollars. I understand that. This is not our property taxes. None of those things are going through it. These, on all these accounts, these are monies that are coming independent of the taxpayers. And so I kind of hold that, not that we're treating this, the state's treating this differently, not me. So there's still accountability, which is why it has to be reauthorized every year, or else you wouldn't be here for that. But I think that the prism by which we look at it can be somewhat different. And obviously, the stadium is something that's geographically important to me, as well as fundamentally important to me, as just as a concept or as a state entity, a city entity. But it's smack dab in my district, and so it's, you know, I have a heightened interest in its affairs and what goes there. I was here all too frequently. The Portuguese festival that took place in 2017.
Brazilian?
I watched all the committee meetings. I know the council president actually brought that up during that meeting. I haven't forgotten that either. And so it's something that, and the other point that I think was made during that committee meeting, or maybe even tonight, was we need to fundamentally understand whose role is it to approve things that are there. And let me add, to the Recreation Department, to our fields. It's my understanding in reading our ordinances that our ordinances say that if it's a league, that's purely the authority of the Recreation Department. However, if it's a special event, now that comes before us. And so oftentimes in the stadium, there are leagues. Central Catholic, they have a series of games. That's kind of like a league situation. But when you have a one-time event that goes there, that really should come before the council for a vote. According, and you and I have had discussions about that a little bit.
Are you talking about the drummers?
The drummers are one. That's not a league.
Like everybody else
Yeah.
is basically soccer.
You get the little guys playing football, for example, the Pop Warner.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's a league that goes on
Yeah.
all year round. So that's fine. But these one-time events, sometimes it's cultural events that take place. Actually, that Portuguese is an example of one. Nothing's coming into mind more frequently. Or recently, I think St. Patrick's Church had one within the last 4 years, an event over there that had to come before the city council. That was a one-time event. Any one-time event should come before the council. And I would say, and I would argue, that same logic would hold true in our ball fields as well when you have these tournaments.
They're
It's not a
leagues
league.
using the tournaments.
Well,
They're the leagues
They're the
doing
leagues.
the tournaments.
So I guess that's a cluster. So,
Yeah.
and I know you know that.
That's
So
leagues.
right. So anyway, so I guess what I'm asking for is this. I'd like to get some clarification on the financial situation there, and I'd like to work with you through you on learning a bit more about the schedule. And getting that information out to the people that are most impacted, the people who live in the stadium, the people who live in Colonial Heights, who are the direct abutters to that area. And so people understand what the traffic flow is on Winthrop Ave, et cetera. So it would be good to know that.
So I'm happy to report that comes July 1st, fingers crossed, we've been working on Sportsman, which is our web page that's going to go through the Recreation Department, where all our calendars are going to be there, and everybody can look on the calendar and know who's using the ball field. And that's just not for us. It's actually also for the police department, for the other leagues, for us not getting so many calls like, why is this person here? I'm supposed to be using. So the only people that will be on those calendars are people that have gotten permits through us. I have been in the works for about a year and a half on that. As much as I would love to say that it's fully functionable, the only thing that's not going to function is because it doesn't coincide with how electronic payments are made here. But we're working on that. That's the only thing that's not going to work. But other than that, you'll be able to see our flyers, our calendars, what's happening every day in the Recreation Department. And that, to me, I think is a win-win.
Council President.
I also, I'm
Councilor
sorry.
Lozano.
No, go ahead.
I also want to say that it has never been done before, but the Recreation Department shares the calendar of events with DPW, so they know. We send them, like, every single calendar, every single park that we have, we tell them when they're going to be, when they need to be, cleaned, or they need to be lined, or anything like that. They have the stadium, so everybody, in the morning, we all have gone into this thing of looking at calendars and knowing what's happening, and they call us. The other thing is the calendar with the city clerk, which has worked phenomenal. You know, we had our bumps and everything, but we've put systems into place that I think, I believe, I'm confident in saying that in a year, we're gonna be in a very different place.
Thank you, Council President, through you. Thank you, Director Velez.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask the same question about the fee for the use of the stadium. The numbers are really low, and then we have to pay so much money for overtime, and
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
no, as I explained, it was kind of that miscommunication. When we were charging for one person being at the stadium. So if somebody was like having a function where there's gonna be 200 people, the union would say, no, we need 2 people there, or we need 3 people, and we didn't really figure that in. So now we've gotten over that hump, and now we know for this year, coming year, like how much we need to charge for like DPW to be there.
But how much money are we, what is the cost to the permit? How much it costs to rent the stadium?
Right now, it's $100 an hour to use the stadium, and then plus what it costs to pay for DPW.
Is the mayor also giving this use for free?
No, the
Oh,
stadium is not for free.
Because the amount of money is really low.
Yeah, there was, remember, the stadium gets used a lot by school departments, we don't charge them.
Okay, well, that is, I understand
Yeah.
that, but by other nonprofits that are getting grants that are sustainable, I understand that some of them are not, but for the
So now
ones
we're
that are
doing
getting.
that. Now we're doing that with nonprofits, which I've been reaching out to, you know, like, we just had a breast cancer walk there, and the woman paid to use the stadium. You know, it's a nonprofit from North Reading, they came in, they paid to use the stadium, and they did a breast cancer walk around the stadium on a Sunday morning, and she left. So when people come to us, we rent, you know, and I think the better we get organized, the more we can advertise, the more we can use it for the right reasons. We have a nice track, you know, we have a beautiful field, and I feel that it could be used for things.
I agreed. And also, I agree, I think that if we are letting an organization use this facility for free or for a very low cost, they should at least pay for the workers for the overtime, because this is not sustainable.
Absolutely, I agree.
Just a suggestion
I
for
agree.
future
I
reference.
agree with you.
Thank you, Director
you.
Velez.
Director, I would like you to, I have a suggestion.
Yes.
And that will be, you know, for you, you're gonna have to take a visit to the Methuen Stadium.
Yeah.
And they have different sources of revenue because they have multiple use on the stadium. This spring, I was able to visit through an event that they have there. And their stadium, because of they painted a little different,
Yeah,
they be able to
they play
actually-
baseball on it too.
and yeah, they play a lot of different sports. And it doesn't take away from the actual football field. But I mean, that's another source of revenue that we should look into it. And potentially, out of this account, we should be also looking into potentially invest on a stadium that I don't see that within the account. I don't know if we have a different source of funds that we can save a little bit of money, here and there, in case that we need some type of repair, quick repair, that we don't have to wait. Because the intent of that is also to kind of like, you know, perhaps some type of rainy funds.
Yes, I 100% agree. I will go with Adavi to the Methuen Stadium, although I've been there, but I will go and pay more attention. Capital improvement monies are there, and it is a veteran stadium, so one of the things that I've spoken to the Veterans Director is to be out there and see if there's funding for anything like that to, you know, to be able to tap into, whether it's at the federal levels or foundations or stuff. So we're gonna start looking at things.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other councilors? I hear no, so I'll call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? No, it was a
Motion to
motion to approve.
approve.
That was the underlying motion.
You should not mention.
And that was the,
Motion
what,
to
30
table.
days waive. Oh, I mean, I can call the roll. I mean, any nays? Motion to approve.
Did they skip this one?
The ayes have it.
Okay.
Councilors, entertain any other motions?
Motion to table item 237-25, Council President.
237,
I think we
125.
passed
There is a motion to untable. Can you hear a second?
Thank you.
Properly second by Councilor Levy.
Roll call.
Roll call. Okay, to untable on 137. Let me just call that, the item. 13725, the reauthorization of the council on agent revolving fund account for the expenditure limit of 150,000. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Levy? Yes. Councilor LaPlante?
Yes.
Councilor Luzon?
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Councilor Santiago?
Yes.
Councilor Mamo?
Yes.
Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Council Vice President Infante?
No.
Council President Rodriguez?
I vote yes, motion carries. What's the underlying motion? Was a motion to approve by Councilor Vice President Infante.
Discussion?
Vice
I'm
President.
looking at Councilor Del
Yes.
Rosario.
Again, I mean, friendly amendment, if it's approved, wait 30 days, please.
I accept.
So there is a motion to approve and properly second by Councilor Santiago. Councilor Marmo, you have the floor.
My apologies. I was literally going to ask if we received, but then I saw the acronym LC and I kind of figured it out. So again, when the meeting started, before the meeting started, I was able to go over some of them, and there were some accounts that were quick and easy for me to review. This one, not so much. I have not been able to even review, I haven't even have begun to review this data, so my apologies if I may potentially decide to not move forward at this time.
All right, point well taken. Councilors, any other
President.
questions?
Council President,
Councilor Vice President Infante.
thank you. Council Marmol stated what I was going to say regarding my no vote on the table, on untabling this. I believe this is 5 pages, 6 pages, and I do know, I just want to put this on I do know most of the work that that you guys do under this department. But again, I mean, we're not just dealing with comments, we're dealing with looking at the numbers and et cetera, and there's a lot more pages to review. So I would like the opportunity to have the time to review this. Although only one counselor, is going to be up to the 9 of us at the end of the day, so.
Just as full disclosure, there is no overtime on this, and there's no staff being paid. These are vendors being paid. Our expenses, again, if you look where the comments are, we try to tell you what it's for. And, if you look at the expenses, it'll say face painting for city event. That means that we had intergenerational event. When it says city event, it's not just a senior center event. That means that we had it with grandparents and everybody else, which we invite the whole city in. Evening exercise, so we try to really be, really cognizant of like making sure that what you see is what you're, like Demoulas, which is market basket, but by the way, that's how they put it. It's food supplies for like our kitchen, for like when we have a dinner party for Mother's or Father's Day or anything like that, Christmas, whatever we do is there. As far as revenues is concerned, it says special events, like if we have a special event, it could be a special dinner party, it could be, we have a traveling chef which comes in and elders buy a ticket to eat like from this traveling chef, and that is a special event because that money, the chef doesn't charge us, that money goes directly to the center. So that could be a special event. Special bingo is when we play bingo and it's, coverall, it's different than just a recreational bingo, and people come in. Replacement cards, we have scan cards that seniors have, and if they lose it, because I was spending a lot of money, it costs $3 to replace. The books for citizenship, we also sell that for the classes, and we ask for a donation of $3. And that's what the class books are. Alzheimer's Association, they use the center, we have a breakfast, and they give us the money to, like, we cook for them, or we set up the breakfast for them in the space, and they pay that to us. So that's where we get, and as you can see, you know, our expenses are $30,883. It is an account that's used for things that the city does not pay for, so anything that you see here as an expense is something that is not in my general budget, is usually here. We've been fortunate because, you know, if you look at my budget overall, in 2023, we weren't getting any operational supply and monies in our budget. We are now getting that, so, you know, the money goes in and we spend less. So we do have, you know, a balance, I think, of $117,000 in that account, because it is something for when rainy days come along, and, you know, we offset the cost of anything that's not covered through the city. So, I mean, this is, I know it's a lot, but, you know, we do use it a lot. This is where all my teachers get paid from, whether it's an art teacher, and all my teachers really are seniors. I give them an opportunity to become vendors, and they might be retired teachers that are teaching citizenship classes, or Spanish classes, or English classes, or arts classes, sewing classes. They're seniors that are doing those kinds of work, because I'd like to help people and give back to them. So those are really our expenses, and where we spend the most is really at Market Basket, which is Demoulas. That's where you see that there's more expenses. It's, you know, because those are paid like every quarter or so. We'll spend about, you know, $1,200–1,500, but I'm frugal. I make $1 last.
Council President,
Councilor Luzon?
I'm going to ask the same question again. Were service interrupted at the senior center since our last meeting, our last emergency meeting? For the record, Ms.
Well,
Director Velez, if
Did the
service
service
were
get
interrupted?
No,
Okay, thank you.
not as of June 30th.
Well, we're dealing with that, Director, right?
Today's June 30th.
Thank you, Director Velez,
Thank
for
you,
your
Councilor
answer.
Luzon.
Thank you, Council President.
Councilors, any other questions? Councilor Marmol?
Just briefly reviewing this, I'm just scanning it. You said that correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if I misunderstood. Did you say no overtime was paid under this account?
No, we don't pay.
Okay. Because I'm seeing the warrant, let me see, this is page. I believe to be the fourth page, and it's just for me to understand under comments. I'm just trying to understand what it means. Where it says warrant, run, city, PR, I could have sworn you guys said that meant payroll, no?
Yes, so that is a reimbursement to an employee for getting food service. So it seems as though that employee must have gotten something for either an event or something that the revolving account needed, and so that's actually a reimbursement. Reimbursements are done via payrolls.
Director, out of curiosity, do we do some sort of like survey to the seniors and the members that we serve in terms of like what other services they would like to see?
Oh, yes.
Because I noticed that we have our go-to vendors for certain activities. I'm just wondering what are any potential future projects or activities that you may be offering
So
that
we-
it's brand new?
Sure, we bring in entertainers also, and some entertainers donate their times because they're being paid by Mass Cultural Council. So we do that. As a matter of fact, this week I'm having a meeting with UMass Lowell, who's looking to do a computer room, but with laptops, because I don't want computers because they're bulky and we can't move them, but if we have laptops. So we're looking at digital technology and how we interact with seniors, and also looking to use those same laptops to have maybe gaming after school for kids. So like, how do I dual use these things? So, yeah, and everything that I've done at the center, it's because I listen to the community and what their needs and wants are. And, you know, when someone says to me, oh, I'd like to see this, I say, okay, let's see what we can do. The Asian elders wanted yoga, I have a yoga instructor now. So a yoga instructor does yoga, twice a week, does yoga on one day and chair yoga another day. So yeah, everything stems from grassroots. I don't make decisions unless I feel like somebody's gonna take care of it.
You know, and for the record, yesterday I was talking to one of my residents from Essex Towers, and I sometimes, I love when they kind of congregate by the window, because they're like people watching, and oftentimes I hear them, you know, speak of what their day-to-day is like, and they mention the senior center a lot. They love the domino tournaments, so if that's something that you guys could continue to do, I don't know if you offer like 3 days of the week, is it? Is it Monday,
We
Wednesday?
have dominoes every day.
Oh, it's
there.
every day?
But we have tournaments like every 3 months or so.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
If there's a way that we could expand on that, or, I know we have, is it usually at the senior center, or do you guys tend to go out and do tournaments, whether it's at the common, I don't want to call it a common park, Campignon Park, or any other city, you know, the city-owned facilities for those seniors that can't make it to the senior center?
So a lot of the elderly housings, they have their own person that does activities. What we try to do is we ask if we could go in there to have like a day for us, and then we bring in information and do things with them. Because there are people in the elderly housing that program things for the elders that are there.
Council President,
Councilor Luzon.
and I'm going to refer to one of my constituents. How is the process of the elderly's eating? Do they have to be a member of the of the senior center?
So.
How does it work, Mark?
No, so our meals are funded by HBAN, which is funded
Okay.
by Title III federal monies.
Uh-huh.
So in order to be able to eat for a donation of $2, and it is a donation,
Okay.
if you don't have it, you don't have to give it, you would have to sign up 2
Okay.
days in advance. So the first time you walk into the center, it's free. We're not gonna tell you that, we're not gonna give you a meal, and we welcome you, we give you a tour, we tell you about the meals. But once you start to come, like on a daily basis, we ask them to fill out an application through the kitchen, which is the nutritional program. We let them use our space to provide these meals. And what they do is they fill out the form, and then it gets sent to HBAN, and then they become part of the program. And all we ask is you tell us when you're gonna be at the center, and if you're gonna cancel, if you could cancel at least 2 days before. We have to put in orders 2 days before. So if I wanna have something special and I want them to do something special, I have to do it 2 days in advance.
Okay. Okay, thank you,
You're welcome.
Director.
Councilor Levy? Yeah. Councilor Levy?
You, Council President, through you. It's just only one thing that monthly, will you be able to send all the calendar for the month?
I will be sending something, we're a little short-staffed right now, so it's been hard to do something, but I have been trying to post on the city website our flyers so that they know, but I will work on that.
Okay, just please, just to add it to the city council, and that we can receive it, and maybe we can put in our calendar also. There are some time activities that maybe we would like to go and or see or whatever, but we would like to make some share with them. Thank
I
you.
will do that. Thank you,
Councilor LaPlante?
Councilor Levy asked my question, I'm all set.
thank you.
Councilor Santiago?
Hi. The question that I have is similar like Councilor Luzon. Do you have any charge for yoga classes for the?
In the morning, no. The evening classes are $1 for 1 hour of exercise. The morning, the morning classes are free for seniors, and this is what the activities account pays for.
Thank you.
Through you, Council President.
Can you specify how people can join the classes at the afternoon?
You just show up,
When you show up?
You just walk in the door and we say, "Hi, welcome."
And
And
that's
then we
at what time?
say, "Is this your first time here?" And you say, "Yes." And we say, "Well, are you here for a specific reason?" And you say, "Yeah, I'm here for exercise. Would you like to exercise now and then we can give you a tour afterwards? Or would you like us to give you a tour, then you could do exercise?" And we give you a tour, kind of explain, and then we ask that if it's not the first time, the second time you come in, that you fill out all the information for my senior center, and you get a little scan card, and then when you come in, you scan your card and you put exercise, and if you're gonna have lunch, you press lunch, and then we know that you're in the building and you're doing that.
And that's for open to the public?
That's open for people that are 55 and over.
Okay, perfect. Councilor De Rosario?
So for Domino's, it's 55 and over?
55 and over. You're almost there, right?
You're almost there.
But that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. I mean, can you send us when the Domino's tournament is? I'm gonna invite LaPlante, so that will even it up, between the both of us, we'll be there. Because I'll take some age from him, and we'll be 55 each.
Don't worry, in August I get to eat lunch.
Let's go play Domino's or something.
I don't think
Thank you, Mataveras. Thank you. I mean, I didn't say anything earlier. I should have. I've been through a struggle with the stadiums and the sport activity. It's long gone now that we approve it, but you come a long way when it comes to that. And I know what your struggles are, because I fought with you through all this thing. So on a daily basis, right? People that come to us and says, we want it for free, and I told you, Mata, don't give it to him for free, because he's making money. So, but it's great to have you around, Mata. Thank you.
I also appreciate the struggles, because it's good to conversate and have different opinions. You change your mind maybe.
Right. Any, Councilor
President.
Mamo?
Any issues with space as of yet? Like, do we have enough space to service everyone that shows up?
Of course. We do. Can we always get more? Yeah, my vision is to have, a building where we can have human service building, which would be the departments that I oversee, to have, council on aging, recreation, and the veterans all together, because I feel those are the people that need services. So I would like to see veteran services at the center more so than at the city level, because when a veteran goes in to see veterans director and that veteran needs further assistance, my staff is able to help them and connect them to the services that they need.
Thank you.
Thank you, yeah. My last question is, have there been any seniors injured or hurt with any activities or programs that you guys have in place? And if so,
You mean fighting between the seniors?
No, not fighting, the yoga, maybe the Zumba class went a little too hard,
No, but I mean, we've had to call an ambulance because a senior might not feel well, or a lot of the times it's, has to do with diabetes, like they might have a sugar low, or their blood sugar's too high, or they're not feeling well. So there is a protocol in the center when someone feels sick. We're not nurses, so the first thing we do is we call 911. And then the patient decides whether they want to go with the ambulance or not. And if they don't, they have to sign off that they're not going.
All right, Councilor Vice President Infante?
Thank you. Martha, Director, I still would like the opportunity to review that packet. I'm gonna make a motion, but I don't think I'm gonna get this one. That's okay.
I respect that.
All right, thank you. I make a motion to table.
Is a motion to table? Can I hear a second? Can I hear a second? All right, the
Second.
motion, motion has been seconded by Councilor Santiago. I'll call the roll. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
This is on the motion to table. Councilor Reyes? No. Councilor Mamo?
No.
Councilor Santiago?
No.
Councilor Del Rosario?
No.
Councilor Luzon?
No,
Councilor LaPlante?
No.
Councilor Levy?
No.
Council Vice President?
Yes.
Vice President, yes. Council President Rodriguez?
No vote on me. Support. No, let's go
Thank you
for the
for
underlying
allowing me
motion.
the opportunity.
Let's go the underlying motion to approve and waive the 30 days. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Levy?
That is for motion to
Motion to
approve.
approve and
Yes.
waive the 30 days.
Yes.
Councilor LaPlante?
Yes.
Councilor Luzon?
yes,
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Councilor Santiago?
Yes.
Councilor Marmol?
Yes.
Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Council Vice President Infante?
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez?
I vote yes. Again, Martha, thank you for sending all that information that you sent over since last week. We highly appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Good night.
All right, councilors, are entertaining any other motions?
Motion to take,
What table? Okay, you say table? We have, all right, all right.
motion to take item table item 24025.
240,
Yes.
25. Can I hear a second? This is for item, the library programs revolving funds account for the expenditure limit for the amount of $50,000. It's been properly seconded by Councilor Reyes. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Okay. This is to untable. Councilor Analevi?
Yes.
Councilor LaPlante?
Yes.
Councilor Luzon?
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Councilor Santiago?
No.
Councilor Mamu?
No.
Councilor Reyes? Yes. Council Vice President Infante?
No.
Council President Rodriguez?
I vote no. What's the count?
5 in favor of untabling 4.
Motion carries. Councilor, what's the underlying motion?
Discussion.
What's the underlying motion first? What is the underlying motion, Madam Clerk? There is a motion to approve, submitted by Councilor Vice President Infante. Councilor Luzon.
Friendly amendment, if it gets approved, to waive it 30 days, please.
I accept.
All right, there is a friendly amendment to waive the 30 days. The motion was made by Councilor Vice President Infante. It was seconded by Councilor Luzon. And the underlying motion is motion to approve. So we have a report, councilors. Any questions? Councilor Vice President Infante. Oh, they submitted all that
Counts-
report today.
Thank,
Yeah, that was.
thank you, Council President, through you.
Other stuff here.
I initially, I was going to say the same thing. I mean, this is over 5 pages. I'm seeing, though, as I look at this for the first time right now, for like skimming through it, most of these expenses are copies, but there's no further explanation. I'm assuming the director's gonna give us that explanation. So I'm gonna sit back and hear what she has to say. Thank you.
You going through the expenditures, or are you asking a question about the expenditures?
I was looking at revenues, and
Oh, revenues.
yeah, I was looking at revenues, I'm sorry, and that was already explained. But yes, but for expenditures specifically, there are quite a few high items, specifically
The revenue.
Library.
associated with restaurants or dining out or dining in, I don't know, but I'm sure the director will be,
Absolutely.
will explain.
All right, Director, you have the opportunity.
Thank you, Council President, through you. So in front of you, what you actually have, and I will be, quite frankly, it's something that's not new from libraries. We usually obtain some type of fee, whether it's a deposit for an item like our Chromebooks or our hotspots. In this case, a lot of the library fines is like if you don't return an item like a book, what ends up happening, we associate it to a fine. As of COVID, the reality of it is, as long as the constituent brings back the material in good condition, we actually waive the fee. So in front of you are actually either they're outstanding or that the constituents have made themselves responsible and have paid the fee associated to the material. This ensures that we can continue to circulate the material amongst us and our partners at the MVLC. In addition to that, we've also accrued expenses in this revolving account, which is our meeting room spaces. When I first became the director, again, it was 3 years in May, our fees were about $50 an hour for the meeting room space. As you know, we're in high demand. That's increased to 75 hours per meeting room request outside of the hours of operation. Yes, sir. The library fines?
Yeah, no, the revenue, you said 75, and then I missed that.
No, of course. So our one of our revenue is our meeting room spaces. When I first came into to this position, our meeting room space was about $50 an hour outside of the hours of operation. We had increased it from me encumbering the position to $75 per per
An hour.
hour.
Oh, an hour.
Correct.
All right, gotcha.
For the meeting room space outside of the hours of operation. I am sitting diligently with the Board of Trustees to re-examine that, as we talked about the stadium, to $100 an hour for room requests outside of the hours of the operation.
Motion passed.
Second.
Pass 10 already?
This is
There's a
going-
motion to pass
It
10,
is 10.
properly second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Roll call. Oh. Madam Clerk, you may continue.
May I? Thank you,
Yes,
Council
of course.
President. So that's one of the revolving ways. Another way that we actually revolve in this account specifically, and I want to share in lieu of it, our revolving account max is $50,000. We sit under maybe $3,000 in that current account. That's usually our printing fees, our meeting room reservation, our faxing, both color and black and white copies. So the idea of this account is to hopefully stimulate revenue to give back to exactly what we use it for, which is copying paper, fax machine, updates. This year, actually to date, which the CAFOLD made us aware of, is that it's actually lower than most years. And that's probably due to the fact that our fax machine has been out since February. We had been out of contract with one of our copier machines in the first floor that we're looking to renew. One of the contracts is $179 a month with Toshiba. That means it'll be about $2,138 per the year. That under $3,000 would cover having that additional copier in the first floor for our constituents.
Revenues. Council President, again, I'm concerned about the rental fee. How much are we charging to rent the library space?
It was $50 per hour as of 2022 to 2023, and we increased it to $75 per hour outside of the hours of operation to $75 an hour.
The amount is really low. I mean, taking in consideration all the events that take place there. Is this space is giving, are you waiving, it's anyone, I mean, you're the director, you should know. Are you waiving the fee to any organization?
Thank you for asking that, Counselor. One of the things that I did when I came in was actually mitigate that possibility by adding a meeting room reservation platform. So we use a platform called Whofi. So unless your reservation goes to that platform within the respective times allowed, then it's not admissible. So therefore, although you call us out, if that time bracket is not available, there's no way we can leniently tell you that you can or cannot use this space.
Okay. So we're not making a lot of money in renting?
No, ma'am, and the Board of Trustees and myself, we're looking to increase that, and it's actually before the board at this moment, to increase it to $100 the hour for room reservations out of the hours of operation.
Okay, so through you, Council President, the same,
Councilor Luzon?
can we ask about expenses?
She haven't get there yet.
Okay, good,
Yeah,
so
that's best
thank
for her
you,
to get
Director.
an
Thank you,
opportunity.
Councilor Luzon.
Again, as I said before, I'm a little scared when it comes to not having access at some point. And it happened with some buildings in the school departments that we have no access whatsoever. And that could be better used. So like I said before, and to you, it is kind of like, it should be a balance. We probably have different set of opinion when it comes to the rentals. But it is need to have a place to meet, and that's been the library.
Thank you, Council President. And may I add, our hours of operation, in returns to Councilor Luzon, is very short. So in our fall and winter hours, we're open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So consider that time. It's very a short window for you to reserve a space. And therefore, if you reserve between 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on the weekends, we are open. Therefore, we're not charging the public for the utilization of the space if it is available. Therefore, if they go to due process through our reservation platform and they're able to secure the space, regardless of their organization that's serving the public, then they're able to do so within our hours of operation.
Council President, if I may.
Councilor Luzon?
But we're running a city, so we are paying for staff. Well, you're doing it during the hours of operation. So that doesn't happen on Saturdays, no.
It does on the fall and winter hours. In the summer, we're not open on the weekend as of yet.
Yeah, I do understand and your point, and it's great point, you know, we offer something for free, but also we are spending money in staffing, in electricity, heating. So, I mean, we're running a business here. So we need to take a look at that. I know that the library is the place to be. You're doing an amazing job, but we also run in a city, and we need revenue. Because the way we're going, this is not going to be sustainable in a few years.
Yes, ma'am. And in tune to that, in regards to our retired CAFOs, Mark Ainello, that's something that he drilled into me, is how can we create more revenue for the library? And I assure you, we are examining that. So right now, our limit is $50,000, and I hope to come before you one day, actually arguing an amount that's sustainable in order to bring that back. Because again, revolving accounts means exactly that, right? Giving in to get out, and get out specifically to our constituents. And that's what we plan to do. So I do appreciate that, and I will go ahead and share that with the board.
Thank you, Council President.
No problem. Any other questions? Councilor LaPlante?
How much revenue do you have as of today? How much is your balance in the account? Are you gonna roll any over?
Our current revolving account is actually under $3,000. I don't have the exact number on me, but it's actually under $3,000.
That's the revenues.
Correct. So, and then that's fax, copies, and black and white and colored copies.
So my question was, what is your statement? What's your balance as of today, the end of the fiscal year? It's under $3,000?
Under $3,000.
Thank you.
Councilors, any other questions? Councilor Marmo? We haven't get to the revenue yet. I mean, to the expenses. We're gonna allow the director to. No, we're waiting for she's gonna explain we're talking about the revenues. We're not talking about the expenses yet. Yes, Councilor Marmo.
Again, just briefly, I'm like doing my work as we're conducting this meeting. If you don't mind, because again, this is like new to me, so just so I know that I'm understanding what I'm looking at, if you could go over when I'm looking at the revenues, because I'm assuming these are different accounts, and they all have their abbreviations. So the MSEXP1, the library FIN, let me see. Sorry if you don't know. Let me see, LIBCOP.
For the book sale?
So I'm seeing I'm assuming these are different accounts with different totals. I just want to understand what each of these accounts mean. And then the second part of my question in revenues is trying to understand, and I'll give you an example. So for copies, and this is on page 3, when something is in parentheses, does that mean we received money or money was taken out?
That means that the library received that money.
Okay. So the numbers next to the date, is that the number of copies that we made? Or the number of copies the service? So it was was it 3 copies? So what does 2 and 3 mean when I'm seeing 2, 3, 3, 3, 3?
That is the period, so that's the month that the deposit was made in. So, for example, July would be period 1, If I may too, just to answer to that first part of your question, the way that we code in our system, we like to try to keep track of as much detail as possible. So even though it's the same account that the money is being deposited into, we have different what is called charge codes, which is those 6-letter, some of them have numbers, but majority are letters. So that whenever we want to know how many, for example, donations did the library receive, we run that charge code, MSCXP1, and we can see that they received $107.95 this fiscal year in donations. So that is the purpose of how that charge code works. And I did print this report by charge code for you guys because I just figured that might be the most helpful for how you guys review. And so the next charge code, LibFin, is for any late fees that the library collected. And then there is the copies charge code. Those are for any, correct me if I'm wrong, literally people pay money to print pages at the library. And that's what that word copies mean. You'll notice that the description is the same because they tend to receive for the same things. There are departments that have kind of an array, but the library has a certain set of revenues that they can charge for or charge for. And so that's how that report is broken down. The LEEPRI, those are the room rental fees. And you can kind of see, I should have put the header on each page. You can kind of see the last column is the comment of what that charge code is. So it does kind of mention rental incomes, and sometimes the clerk will put a little bit more detail, like the actual date of the event,
My last question for now, again, questions they come up as I'm reviewing. What does it mean when I'm looking at, so we've already clarified that when it's in parentheses, that means it's money that came in. So I'm seeing on the same day, money coming in and then it was coming out in the same amount. Well, maybe it's two different things, but it comes across as like it's associated. So if that's not the case, please let me know and clarify that.
I can actually tell you exactly what it is because it was right when I became acting assistant comptroller, so I was in the workflow to approve these, some of these charges. So what happened was the library had some new staff members who double charged residents. It happened only a few tiny amount of times, so they had to refund them. So any of those charges that you see that are positive hits either are a refund, and I'm not quite sure if there would be any other reason why they would be receiving the money back, but anytime you don't see a parenthesis, it's the library having to process the payment back to a resident.
And I think that that's just common trial and error as we train, and one of the things that I've noticed throughout the city is that a lot of us are trying to walk before we run, so implementing those policy, creating those manuals that those errors are not created are very important. One of the things that we do as a city, and we collaborate and connect right away, is to find the best way to rectify it as soon as possible, hence why you see a short time frame from that date.
I think it will be important to kind of like, you just mentioned a bunch of little things, like the PR, what's the meanings of on the reports, and on the comments also there is some things as Councilor Marmo just mentioned. I think that an email will be clarifying what all those means, like with a sheet of the report. Perhaps any report, and then saying, oh, this is what it means, this mean this mean this mean that, and whatever. Because I think that it will be important, essential. Yeah. It is as we go, we can see a lot more and a lot more and a lot more. No, it's not just a one-page report now anymore. It's numbers that means things, mean expenditure, means services, means a lot of other things. So essentially, clarifying those minor little details through an email, it will help, not just now, but in the future also.
Of course. I'll make sure to provide that for you guys.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it. Councilors, any other questions?
Motion to table.
There's a motion to table.
Second.
Properly second, no discussion on the
No.
Did we talk about the food, the revenues, and the expenditures?
No, we haven't talked about that yet.
Okay.
The discussion.
All right, there's a motion
If this
to,
passes, if it doesn't, I don't know.
it is, Councilor Vice President,
Motion's table.
there's a motion to table, motion stays. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Reyes.
No.
Councilor Mamo.
Yes.
Councilor Santiago.
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario.
No.
Councilor Luzon.
Yes.
Councilor LaPlante.
No.
Councilor Levy.
No.
Council Vice President Infante.
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez.
I vote yes, what's the count?
5 to table, 4 against.
So motion to table carries. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, any councilors, any other motion?
Council President,
Council Levy.
take item out of table, 24225.
Item 24225 has been motion to on table, properly second by Councilor Reyes. Item 24525 is the authorization of the DPW recycling revolving funds account. Expenditure limit 150,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
This is to untable document 242-25. Councilor Levy.
Yes.
Councilor LaPlante.
Yes.
Councilor Luzon.
No.
Councilor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor Santiago.
No.
Councilor Mamo.
No.
Councilor Reyes.
Yes.
Council Vice President Infante.
No.
Council President Rodriguez.
I vote no, what's the count?
4 to untable, 5 against. So motion to
So
untable fails.
motion fails. Councilors, what's the motion?
There's an underlining motion already, Council President.
No, it's motion to untable fails, so stay fails.
Council President.
Table.
Motion to table.
No, it's remain table. Remain table. Councilor Rosario.
Motion to on table item 24325.
Motion to on table 24325, properly second by Councilor Reyes. This is transfer fund from free cash, transfer fund for the amount of 6,137,126 from free cash to various accounts. Properly second by Councilor Reyes. All those in favor, please say aye.
No.
Any nay? The ayes have it.
Okay, so document, oh, sorry.
Arlene, you have the floor.
Document 243-25 is asking for authorization to transfer $6,137,126 from free cash account 013590 to various accounts. I will go over the accounts. So the first one is $500,000 into the OPEB trust fund. OPEB stands for Other Post-Employment Benefits Reserve, and it was established to begin funding the city's health insurance costs for retired employees. Per Mass General Law, Chapter 32B, Section 20, cities can set aside money to pre-fund these OPEB obligations, and per government accounting standards known as GASB 74-75, cities should be setting aside annual appropriations into the fund, planning for long-term retiree health costs. This helps to build creditworthiness for the city. And with rising medical costs throughout the country, some people may pick costlier health plans, other may pick less costly. So as a city, we play by ear based off of the trends to estimate the amount that we will be needing for the following year. Should I go over every account in general, or should I stop here?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. The other, second account is $500,000 into the Compensated Absences Reserve Fund. This is reserved for supporting departmental budgets for lump sum payments made to employees upon retirement or termination for compensated absences such as vacation or sick leave benefits. We are asking for $200,000 to be transferred into the Workers' Compensation Claims Reserve Fund. These funds are reserved for supporting departmental budgets for workers' compensation claims, including indemnity and medical payments. So $1,665,848 into the DPW snow and ice expenditures account. This transfer will eliminate the snow and ice deficit incurred by the city of Lawrence. We are allowed per Massachusetts general law to deficit spend for this account, but must fund those over expenditures before year end. $1,071,278 into the stabilization reserve for fiscal stability. These funds are a supplemental reserve fund to ensure fiscal stability restricted to Chapter 41 of the Acts of 1990 and can be used for any purpose but must be replenished in the following year. To ensure fiscal stability, this fund is calculated at 1.5% of the amount to be raised less the enterprise funds. $1 million into the stabilization reserve for debt service. These funds are reserved to subsidize the city's increased debt service related to recent capital projects supported by general fund obligation bonds issued without a debt or Prop 2.5 override. $1 million into the stabilization reserve for litigation and judgments. These funds are reserved for litigation expenses and/or to settle judgments or claims against the city. And that is the overview of all of them.
All right, councilors, we have a motion, we have,
An underlying motion.
we have an underlying motion to approve, and who was
Council
the one
President.
seconded?
Councilor Luzon.
Councilor Luzon.
Council Vice President, I would like to offer you a friendly amendment. If we approve this, to waive the 30 days, please.
I accept.
Do you accept?
Thank you very much.
It's been accepted, Council Mamo.
Council President, are you able to provide me with guidance? Could other motions be provided on top of that underlying motion?
It is in order if you put if you actually put a motion. We just hear them out. If it is second,
Okay.
will be in order, depending on the
Well,
motion.
I don't know how this is gonna go, but could I make a motion to approve the transfer of funds to the following accounts, which is the DPW snow and ice expenditures and the stabilization reserve for fiscal stability at this point?
All right, there is to a specific amount for those two accounts. Can I hear a second?
Second.
Properly second, discussion.
Discussion.
Councilor Vice President Infante.
Thank you. Remind me again, the stabilization reserve for fiscal stability is the one that if we don't pass taxes, there's an increase in taxes.
A little bit of more information on that need to be provided.
So I know that the snow and ice expenditures is one that if it's not passed, then taxes are increased. I don't have anything regarding
Oh, no.
stabilization reserve for fiscal
No,
stability.
it's the opposite. I'll clarify a little more. The stabilization fund it's a fund that was created out of result of the issues that we have back then, probably 18 years ago. And that have to be, as you mentioned, 1.5% of the definition that you provide previously is a 1.5% of the tax,
Amount to be raised less the enterprise fund.
less the enterprise funds. So that automatically, if we don't have that amount of dollars on that fund, that automatically will be added to the taxes or to the potential taxes that we're going to be charging. There's no nice different than that stabilization fund account. will be taken out of the free cash automatically, but not necessarily on the taxes. Yes, it will increase taxes if we don't approve these funds, but it is important to recognize that it is not specifically, as we've been hearing around, that it is a fund that was allocated to reduce or diminish the amount of taxes that is going to be charged this year. It's different. It's an obligation that we have to stabilize our local economy. Councilor LeBlanc.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask the proponent for the cut, the rationale, the basis, of the reasoning for cutting everything except for the expenditures on the snow and ice and the fiscal stability stabilization reserve. Why are we cutting the remaining $3.4 million?
I will allow the council member to explain, but I mean, I want to clarify something on the motion. There is an underlying motion that it will be discussed. That is a motion to approve everything that we have. She put a motion on top of the underlying motion, which is to, at front, be able to approve those two funds. That doesn't mean that she is cutting the remaining of the items. That means that we're going to keep the discussion open for the remaindings.
Candidly, Council President, I'm confused by that explanation. I thought I heard it. Maybe if the proponent can make the motion again, maybe I can hear from her own words what her motion is.
Okay, so yeah, to the council president's defense, I am not proposing by making this type of motion, I'm not insinuating that I want to cut anything. Given the explanation and the gravity of the situation with these two line items, I just want to make sure that we are moving forward, ensuring that the transfer of these funds are being made to these two specific accounts.
And Madam Clerk, can you read the motion that the motion that Councilor Marmol just mentioned?
Sure, I have a motion made by Councilor Marmol and seconded by Vice President Infante to approve a portion of the document 42325, specifically the 1.665848 million for snow and ice, and then approval of a 1,071,278 for the stabilization fund. That's the motion that's before the body right now.
Council President,
Councilor LeBlanc?
my understanding is that we are in a position to cut, approve, or table. And so when we're just taking two portions out of that and not, and it's a motion that is very highly unusual, and I don't fully grasp it. I know that the councilor is suggesting that she wants to see, to make sure that these two items are funded. But if we pass the motion, those two items as drafted.
Well, Counselor, I'm not ready to move on the other ones. I'm for sure ready to make a decision and move on. For me, I can't speak for everybody else. I made the motion, it was seconded. Could other counselors be in favor? Maybe. If not, it's perfectly fine. I made the motion because that's what I'm comfortable in moving forward in approving for the time being for tonight.
So is the council president calling that an order?
Yes, I call that in order.
Council President?
Councilor De Rosario.
But from my understanding, approving those two line items with only one number on the item, which is, shouldn't we split the item itself into two? Just in case, I mean, that should be, because approving just two line items and there's only one item number and there, it doesn't make sense, again, to me.
So,
When it comes to that, because it's only one item in there.
Councilor-
And involve all those transfers.
Madam Clerk.
If the councilor's item did pass, as drafted right now, I would recommend that the body split the document that would be a 243A. If you want to create a 243B at that point to deal with the rest of it, or any portion of the rest of it, that would definitely be in order. But if and when this motion passes, that would be maybe the time just to talk about creating the A and the B, yeah.
And that's great explanation, but which item are we going to approve? Because those line items doesn't have any numbers. It's only one item right now.
I'll explain. As we presented, I'll follow the clerk's recommendation, but as we presented, we are talking about allocations. We're not talking about any particular individual situation that we cannot differentiate from one or another. On those allocations, it's a 1,665,848, as you explained, that's for snow and ice. And the stabilization reserve fund for fiscal stability, that's 1,071,278. So since we're talking about numbers, it's not such thing as a confusion, but to make it a little more clear, I'll entertain a motion to split item 14325 into A and B.
So move.
Second.
There is a motion on the table, properly second. All those in favor, please say aye. Discussion, Councilor LaPlante.
I'm just, again, this is, can we show any precedent on this? I know the clerk readily provided we're gonna split this and have on a appropriations transfer. I'm just struggling to understand how we can, this requires 6 votes?
No,
ultimately, at the end?
splitting the vote requires 5 votes.
I understand that, but for the final passage, it requires
It will
6
require
votes.
6 votes, yes.
It's just, only the administration can send down an appropriation transfer request, which they have done. I'm thinking out loud, Council President. So now what we're doing is that we're taking their request and we're splitting their request in 2.
Yes, and that's completely fine. We can either deny or not deny or reduce.
If I may also add to the conversation, these monies are coming from free cash, so these monies, today would be the last day to appropriate this. By not voting on it tonight, essentially, the next available time that we would be able to bring this up would be in September, and I don't know that it would be too late by then. So I just wanted to reiterate that for you guys, that it is from free cash and today's the last day.
Yep,
to
yeah,
actually
we're
move
clear on that, yes, definitely.
Council President?
Councilor Levy?
Yes, Council President, that was my.
The motion is to split the item into A and B.
Me. Otherwise, we're gonna increase the taxes. It's gonna increase.
That's the misperception.
I
We
don't think
have,
so.
that's the misperception, and that's what been discussed, or that's what's been said. If the free cash is certified on September, the snow and ice account will not affect taxes. Potentially, the $1 million, 1,071,278, potentially that could be added to increase taxes. It is important to recognize also that when we split the rate, it's in November. So it's any time between now and November that the council have the opportunity to discuss those rates. We don't know yet, potentially, it could increase taxes. We don't know. That's why we have the opportunity tonight to discuss whether or not we are approving this item or we denying this item. If the item get denied, and then it is an opportunity to increase taxes. Councilor Mamo.
Do you mind giving a point of clarification? A vote needs to be taken tonight by midnight, or is it by tomorrow? Because the July 1st is something else?
For the revolving account, it's July 1st. For the free cash transfers, it's June 30.
So everything on 243 tonight.
Yep. The motion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the motion to split.
Could I make one point of just, I guess, parliamentary or procedural clarification for you? I get everyone's concerns, I do, and I think everyone's trying really hard to be super professional with each other, and I really am respecting that. I just want to point out, if you vote not to split the document, and then the motion to approve 2.6 million is what passes, you've eliminated the ability to go back and vote on the other $4 million. So I cannot tell you how to vote, but I just want to make sure people understand that if you split the document and you approve the 2.6, you've said, now we're not gonna split, now we can't go back and relook at that 4 million. That's not to say someone on the prevailing side couldn't, reconsider or take other procedural actions, but if you're thinking voting against the split, maybe I'm going beyond the scope of my job, but I just feel like,
Yeah, okay.
I just wanna take in mind, if you vote against the split and you want the whole amount to get approved, you might wanna vote for the split, because you won't get another bite at that apple for the other 4 million. It's just something to think about.
All right.
So a parliamentary query, just based on that, Council President, if it's all right. So was the amendment approved as a friendly amendment, or did we vote?
No, it's an underlying motion.
So the,
Motion
so
is
the
an underlying
underlying
motion to
motion right
split.
now, the underlying, what is it?
The motion before the body at
What-
this time was to approve 2.6 or, and change of the full 6.6.
So the
So, and
first,
then there was a motion to split the document by Councilor Marmol.
By
So right now, the motion
Splitting the
is to
document gives you
split.
the opportunity to get back at the other 4.
so last Thursday, Wednesday, whenever we last met, there was a motion for to approve this $6.1 million transfer.
6.6.
It was tabled.
That's correct.
And
That's
so the
correct.
underlying motion, when we came here tonight, was for 6.1 million.
Yes, correct.
And so then there was an amendment that was, I think, made and then properly seconded, or was it a friendly amendment that was made?
It was a main properly second. That was the underlying motion.
So right now, we're at the point where we need to have it.
And then there's a third motion to split the document.
So which one are we so shouldn't we deal with that first one of that?
It's in order. One motion on top of the other motion is in order. So motion to split the document is in order.
Yeah.
And that's the motion that we're discussing right now.
But does that trump the previous motion?
Not Trump. It's a motion on top of the motion, not Trump. It's an individual motion as it is. One motion on top of the motion. And that's completely in order.
There's a secondary motion on top of the first.
Yeah. And then it's a third motion on top of the second motion, which is motion to split. We're not getting confused here. Motion to split the document. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
President,
Okay, motion to split the document into A and B.
Can Madam Clerk explain to me, because what she mentioned before is, si we're not voting yet for the division,
Madam Clerk, please explain.
what se lo vamos to do right now,
Split the document.
By splitting the document, yeah. If you, yeah. So if you make a motion to split the document, that's gonna give you basically 2 votes. The A vote is gonna be for the 2.6 million, and then the balance, which is almost 4 million.
this kind of motion obligated me, I voted yes in this kind of part.
Yeah. So
No,
if you-
Councilor, no, Councilor.
Because you mentioned you
Councilor. It is a motion that you can vote yes or no. And don't, but
Through
what
you,
the
Mr.
Madam Claire
President,
mentioned
the Madam
is
Claire
is her
mentioned-
opinion about an item that she actually mentioned that she's going beyond.
In her opinion, I want to be clear.
See,
just
giving
wanna
her
make sure-
opinion, you see, that's the issue.
I know, it's not my opinion, it's a parliamentary procedure. I just wanna make sure you're aware.
Yeah, I want to be clear.
By splitting the document,
Y si
you're
hay one
saving the other
clarification.
4 million.
Pero yo puedo
I-
decir, porque cuando ustedes hablan,
Yeah.
But you're not listening to her.
I don't listen to her.
Go ahead, Councilor Reyes.
By splitting the document, you are saving your opportunity to get at the other 4 million. If you vote not to split the document and this passes, you've passed a portion of the funding, but not the other portion. So you've kind of created a situation where you've lost access to the other $4 million. So I think, the reason I raised the point is I had a concern that people who want to get the whole 6 would vote not to split. And if that's your logic, it's actually the opposite.
Yes, what I understood is, if I don't vote in yes for this proposal, we lost the opportunity to vote, to split the another part.
So if you split the document, that will give you 2 votes.
Yeah.
One for the the initial 2.6 and one on the balance. If we do not vote to split and the council's underlying motion passes, you risk losing the other $4 million.
Yeah. But I
Counsel-
did, what I mean is that.
Council President, but that's the key point.
Councilor LaPlante, allow me to recognize you first.
Recognize Council President.
Give me 1 minute, because we're still having the discussion here. I cannot jump into another discussion. So are we good, Councilor Reyes? Okay.
I said, but I'm not voting yes to split the motion,
The document.
the document, we can lose the another part. So, I'm very
Oh,
clear on that part.
okay.
I want to be more clarification.
All right. Councilor LaPlante.
Goodness.
Thank you. So, I think it's really important that we get, because this is important, they're all important votes, but this is important votes because if we mess up this vote, this is actually going to be potentially costing people money, number one. And number two, if we mess up this vote, we're not taking care potentially of other obligations that we have, that the city should be putting money into, whether it's OPED or the Compensated Absence Reserve Fund, the Workman's Comp claim. These are places that we need to be responsible. This is what gets us in trouble years ago when we weren't doing these things, and I was around when we went to receivership. I don't want to do that again. So, I want to be clear. This first vote is to split. If the vote that we're about to call the question on is to split this up. Am I right on this? To an A and a B. Okay, so that first vote is say, if the vote is to split it up, then we're going to have two votes after that. One vote on part of it and the other vote on the other part of it. And then if both pass, that's fantastic. I hope both pass. If one passes and the other one doesn't, that's not great. And if obviously if both don't pass, that's awful. That's brutal. Brutal for the people we represent.
Councilor LaPlante.
Number two, so the other point there, let's say that the thing doesn't pass, which is I think that what the
Councilor
clerk.
LaPlante, you're speaking out of order. We
I'm not-
have a motion to split.
But I'm
And
trying-
you're talking about the other motion that might come up. That's out of order. That's out of order completely. If you want to talk about the split, you can talk about the split. In the meantime, you cannot talk about potentially what might happen in the future.
Council President, for me to make an informed decision on this particular vote, it's absolutely critical that I understand the dominoes. If I don't understand the dominoes, Council President.
You can understand it, but
So
not potentially discuss it.
No, this has everything to do with my vote. This has everything to do with my first vote. Everything to do with my first vote.
Yep.
Asking the vote that potentially goes two down has everything to do with this first vote. It is totally in line with it. It has to be asked.
It is not in order to talk about the future vote. It is in order to talk about this vote, which is to split the document.
I don't like having this discussion with you, Council President, because
Yes, based on the letter that you just mentioned.
It's not that I don't like speaking with you, because I do enjoy that, but what I'm having a problem with is fundamentally understanding that how we get to this point, that you have to, I understand you're trying to abide by the rules, and in what you say is 100% correct when it comes to we need to be dealing with this particular vote. But the linkage of these votes is what's making this thing critical, the linkage. And if we fail, I know that you don't, but if we fail to see the linkage, then we're doing a disservice, because one vote has a triple
Councilor
effect on
LaPlante,
another.
but you cannot talk about the other things that is not in front of us. The splitting of the document is what is in front of us. You can vote yes or no. That's democracy. That's part of government. That's what you just read on public comment.
No, I don't think that's what I read in public comment, Council President. What I talked about in public comment, that we need to be respectful in this chamber. We need
Yes.
to talk about the issues, and now we're trying to talk about the issues. That was my driving point. We need to, rather than personalities and rather than all that stuff, we need to start thinking about the issues. This is about this issue. This is about the issue. This is about trying to figure out, if I vote a certain way, do I lose the potential right that we're going to lose money on a secondary vote? I need to know that, because that'll change and affect my first vote. So the
And that's
question,
within your right.
pardon me?
But that's within your right that you need to understand your vote. But talking about it out loud on the floor when it's not the time, it's out of order. And that's what I'm calling it.
But I will lose the time, Council President, if we take this vote and then I lose that opportunity. I can't go back.
But I mean, I cannot tell you how to vote. You have the right to vote one way or another way. But I mean, we gotta call the questions.
If I'm having a hard time understanding, I'm sure I'm not alone in this. I am going to think there's probably others in this body who also would like to get some clarification. As the council president.
Once we get to
and
that
trying-
point,
as
it
the coun-
will be clarified.
As the council president, we're asking you to be a neutral arbiter in this and provide the
I
membership
am.
of which you are leading the opportunity to understand it more clearly. And I think that's an ultimate responsibility.
And
I
the
hope you
question
accept
in
that.
front of us, Councilor LaPlante, is motion to split the item into A and B. If the motion carries, and then we're gonna have two items that we're gonna be able to discuss, those both individually. That's what we have in front of us. One that is for $3.4 million, and the other one that is for about $2.6 million.
Council
That's what we
President,
have.
I'm going to issue number 9 of our rules, to challenge the rule of the chair, to give the courtesy of the council to have the opportunity to flesh things out more fully. My motion is to challenge your opinion that we're
My
not
opinion?
allowed, that we're not allowed, that
We
we're not
haven't made
allowed
a
to go-
decision.
that we're not allowed to go ahead and ask a follow-up question that is somewhat related.
Okay,
That's my motion.
read the rule.
Rule number 9, appeal.
Yes.
Any member of the city council may appeal the decision of the presiding officer by motion. No other business shall be in order until the question of the appeal is decided. No debate shall be permitted until the question of appeal. The vote upon the question of appeal from the ruling of the presiding officer shall be by roll call. The decision of the presiding officer shall stand unless a majority of the votes are to the contrary. The presiding officer shall be allowed to vote on any question of appeal. There is no further discussion. I've called the question. I made a motion.
Motion.
I'm looking for a second.
There is a motion to appeal what? Clarify what you're appealing to.
I'm appealing your decision, Council President, that it is not in order for me to ask the questions regarding the linkage between this and a potential Second Amendment.
Essentially, what I called a not in order that you want to speak about other items that is not in front of us. You want to appeal that?
Council President, I made the appeal.
I just want to make sure that we're clear. You want to appeal that?
My words, Council President. I've already made mention.
Okay,
of what the
I'll
appeal
call the
is.
questions.
Thank
In
you.
favor to the appealing. Please, voting yes means that you are in favor of restricting my decision of not allowing this conversation to continue because it's not in order. Voting no means that the conversation will continue as before. Am I right, Madam Clerk? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? No. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Levy,
Yes.
Counselor LaPlante,
Yes.
Counselor Luzon,
Madam Clerk, can you please?
should the motion before the body right now is a challenge of the chair's ruling not to allow discussion on the question, which is with regard to the linkage of the upcoming 3 votes. And Councilor LaPlante is asking to appeal that decision of the presiding officer. So a yes vote means that you will allow conversation on the linkage of the votes, and a no vote means that you will not allow that conversation.
No.
Councilor Del Rosario,
Yes.
Councilor Santiago,
No.
Councilor Mamo,
No.
Councilor Reyes,
Yes.
Council Vice President Infante,
Abstain.
Council President.
Vote no. What's the count?
There's a 4-4, so there's no.
Motion fails.
Okay.
Motion fails. All right, I'll call the questions to split the document. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
This is to split the document. Councilor Reyes,
That is to split,
To split the document,
yeah.
yeah.
But
Motion
you-
to split
what you
into
mentioned
two
before-
documents or stay as a one document. If you vote yes, you split it into two. If you vote no, you're not splitting it.
What the Madam Chair clarified before, as I voted no, the another
Yeah,
part.
but I mean, we just call the question. Voting yes means that you're splitting the document. Voting no means that you will stick with one document.
Voting no.
All right.
Counselor Marmal?
Yes.
Counselor Santiago?
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Counselor Luzon?
Yes.
Counselor LaPlante?
No.
Counselor Levy?
No.
Counsel Vice President Infante?
Yes.
Council President?
I vote yes. What's the count?
6-3.
So now we have item 143A, which is $3.4 million for OPEB trust fund, compensated absence reserve fund, work compensation change reserve fund, injuries on duty reserve fund, stabilization for debt service, and stabilization for litigation judgment for the amount of $3.4 million. That's A. And then we have document 243B 25, which is the DPW's non-ice expenditure for the amount of $1,665,848, plus the stabilization reserve fund for $1,071,278, for the total amount of, what's the total amount? Somebody has the total amount? 2.73? Yes, 2,737,126. Yes, correct. All right. So now, councilors, we have a motion to approve 243B, which is the DPW's non-ice expenditure plus the stabilization reserve funds. Is that your motion, Councilor Mam?
That is. Council President, do you mind going into details as to approving this motion is where, in fact, it won't affect or would be a rise on additional taxes to the residents as it was claimed?
Yes, last week's meeting, we have comments from a member of this body that established on a specific amount for the amount of about $20 or $50 that was going to be raised if we don't approve the stabilization reserve fund for fiscal stability. So yes, in fact, approving this item this amount will not be added to the taxes already increased on the operational budget for the amount of 3.58%.
To you, Mr. President.
Councilor Reyes.
But the rates balance go to increase to our residents?
The remaining balance,
Yes.
the $3.4 million, no. That's to not increase taxes, only the stabilization reserve fund for fiscal stability, the amount of $1,071,278 is the amount that potentially could be added to the tax to be increased. The rest of the money, no. The rest of the money will be, again, considered when the free cash become available, but that will not increase taxes. Only the stabilization reserve for fiscal stability, the state will automatically add it to that account. Correct? Can you explain yourself?
Yeah, so you're correct. I would like to note, though, that the DPW snow and ice expenditures, from my understanding from the CAFO, what she mentioned was that if it is not approved, it would get taken out of free cash.
Yes,
and-
automatically.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it will be taken out of free cash before it gets certified. If I mean, that's what you get from the CAFO? Okay. That's exactly what the conversation that I have. That's what it says, yes. Uh-huh. So, councilors, we have a motion in front of us, which is that for that specific amount, that does not mean that the other amount is not going to be approved. But as presented, Councilor Mamo presented, the motion to approve 243.25B, which is for that amount, for the amount that we just mentioned. Any questions on regarding to this?
This is on the snow and ice and the stabilization.
Correct. Any questions on this matter?
Counselor, you had made those lovely,
Yeah, friendly,
Friendly amendment to waive the 30 days if this is approved.
to
I
wait the 30
accept.
days. Okay, it's been friendly amendment, it's been accepted. There's no questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Yes. Any nays? Madam Clerk, please call the roll, please.
Counselor Levy,
Cuenta de otra, yes.
Counselor LaPlante,
Yes.
Counselor Luzon,
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario,
Yes.
Counselor Santiago,
Yes.
Counselor Mamo.
You're doing residents a service, yes.
Councilor Mamo? Yes, it's a yes vote. Councilor Reyes?
Council Vice President Infante,
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez.
Vote yes. Motion carries unanimously.
Council
Now
President.
we have item 243A25. Councilor De Rosario.
It's my personal opinion, it's a comment, it is a shame that we get to this, to those things.
What is the motion, Councilor De Rosario?
No motion, yes or no next time, and we continue the business, but it's a shame, and that's what people call this a
Councilor-
circus.
What's the motion?
There's no motion, that just was a comment.
We have an
Council
underlying
President.
motion, Madam Clerk. What is the underlying motion for this item? Well, obviously, without,
243, we do not have a motion to approve the remaining balance, which is the 3.4 million for 243-25A, that we're looking for a motion.
Motion to approve and wait the 30 days?
there is a motion to approve item
Discussion.
243A25 for the amount of $3.4 million. 1 million, 2 million, $3.4 million. It's been properly seconded by
Counselor Reyes.
Councilor Reyes. Discussion, Councilor Vice President Infante.
Thank you. I was gonna say anything, but I'm gonna say it.
No, I mean, stick within the item, please.
No, I think this is important to say.
Okay,
Last week,
just attach it to the item.
when we were discussing these items, these same items that we now have in front of us, we've endured many side comments, many inappropriate comments. And again, when it's one of us that gets annoyed, it's an issue. We don't say anything back. When our colleagues do that same thing to us, and that's annoying. That's
Councilor Vice President Infante, stick to the item. Any questions on item 24325?
Can I just? Okay. I understand that I understand that there's uneasiness about maybe some of these document numbers. I don't know if maybe I just didn't do a good enough job
No,
explaining
wait,
what-
you're doing great.
Okay.
It wasn't even you because that item was sent back almost 3 weeks ago. So that's not you today at all. Don't feel ashamed, nothing. It's like, it is what it is.
I do want to clarify that the OPEB trust funds, not only, so every single document being requested is not only requested every year, but it's important for the city to build these funds because this goes into not only the credit worthiness of the city, but for example, I'll just give one example, the stabilization reserve for litigation and judgments. As you guys know, we're very short-staffed in the attorney's office. We have an attorney of one. There's a lot of moving factors that we take into account when we're coming up with the numbers that need to go into these departments, but please know that as the finance department, we sit with each each department that is involved in each of these funds to make sure that we're trying to calculate as responsibly for the next fiscal year so that should situations arise, we're prepared. And so the OPEB trust fund goes into the creditworthiness of the city. It's important that we keep funding that reserve. And actually, the state always recommends that cities continuously add to the accounts. It just looks good when we know that we're gonna have a lot of people that are gonna be retiring in the future, that are gonna have a lot of medical costs. And I don't know if any of you guys have questions on any of these specific funds. I would love to be able to maybe try to see if I can help break down this information, but I do just wanna stress the importance of each of these funds and funding them so that we can have stability for the city.
Thank you for your comment. Councilors, any questions? Councilor LaPlante.
Sure. I'm going to be voting yes on this. I understand the importance of this, and I understand the commitment that we make as a municipality that we need to continue to fund these things. Some of them predate many of our involvement in the city, and there are bills that have to be paid, and we need, I think, the comptroller has said it right, we have a responsibility to be responsible and to pay and to put these funds and the money that we can, not only for today, but for the future. I am eager, though, as I mentioned several hours ago now, if someone doesn't think this is a good idea, if someone believes...
Motion to pass 11.
Motion to pass 11, properly second, discussion, and there is none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
I am eager to hear if someone has a rationale or a reason as to why we should not vote for this evening. I could be swayed to vote no, but I'd like to know what that reason is. So far, I've got compelling reasons to overwhelmingly vote yes on this, but maybe I'm missing something. Can someone please enlighten me, engage in a deliberation here publicly so we know why we may want to consider voting no. Absent that, I'm voting yes.
So what Councilor LaPlante is saying that if you're voting yes, please state it. If you're voting no, you say as a why. So essentially, what we're saying is that vote before we call the vote.
Council President, you're mistaking my words. If you feel like you're going to be voting no on this and you've got a compelling reason, I'd like to know why. No one's under any obligation to say this. Nobody has to say it, but I'm just saying this is supposed to be a deliberative body. Legislatures, by their nature, are supposed to have give and take, exchange of information, why we are voting. That's how we learn, that's how we get educated.
Any councilor that wishes to speak?
I'm asking my colleagues, if you plan on voting no, and you already made that decision, maybe I'm missing something. Would you please help me understand?
Anybody that wishes to express their vote? Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Levy?
Yes, for motion to approve.
Motion to
Motion
approve
approve the-
item 24325A for the amount of $3.4 million
Yes.
and wait the 30 days.
Counselor LaPlante?
Yes.
Counselor Luzon?
No.
Counselor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Counselor Santiago?
No.
Counselor Marmal?
No.
Counselor Selena Reyes?
Yes.
Council Vice President Infante?
No.
Council President Rodriguez?
I vote no. What's the count?
5-4, motion fails.
Motion fails.
4-5.
Councilors, any other motions?
Motion to adjourn.
Listen,
For that.
before we adjourn, Councilor Levy. Yeah, there is a bunch of items that we still have.
I'd like to take motion, I get document number 2.
Do you want to,
I
before,
withdraw my motion.
Councilor De Rosario have withdrawn his motion for motion to adjourn. Councilors, any other motion? All right, I'll entertain a motion to,
I'll make a motion only because it's on the agenda. I may not vote in favor, but I think it's the right thing to do. Document 24125, I make a motion that we take that off the table.
Second.
There is a motion on table 24125, the reauthorization of PEC access cable-related funds, revolving funds account for the appropriation of $450,000. This been seconded by Councilor Levy. Councilor Levy, Luzon. Councilor Luzon. All those in favor to on table, please say yes.
No.
Any nays? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
241-25 on tabling is Councilor Levy.
Yes.
Councilor LaPlante?
Yes.
Councilor Luzon?
No.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Councilor Santiago?
No.
Councilor Marmal?
No.
Councilor Reyes? Council Vice President Infante?
No.
Council President Rodriguez?
Everyone know what's the count?
4-5.
Motion fails.
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn, properly second. Councilor, before we adjourn, if I might, Councilor Rosario, do you mind withdrawing? For any information that I need to pass? Well, it's not gonna be in order.
What's happening? Was
Do
there
you
a
wanna
motion to
do,
adjourn?
do you wanna do, withdraw, Secretary?
Withdraw the motion.
Again, councilors, we have a meeting on the 7th, related to a specific issue, that is for special meeting on the 7th, not an emergency meeting, that it related to a specific issue that is it is regarding the flood map, for the city of Lawrence that was discussed previously on this agenda. We call for a special meeting on that, and that is a requirement that before the 8th, action need to be taken as per the federal government regulations when it comes to those specific maps. That meeting will be on the 7th. You will be getting a specific notification on that item. The intent of that is that tomorrow we will call a meeting for that day, which is the 7th, a subcommittee meeting, and that way, councilors that wanted to join, they may be able to join, and they may be able to join online as well. I will call tomorrow on the regular meeting, we will call subcommittee meeting that is on the same day, and then 4 councilors gonna be here on any of those subcommittee meetings. That way we can make sure that we get through that. Councilors, I'll entertain. Councilor Levy?
Are we going to discuss tomorrow this item that we're tabled today?
Councilor Levy, you asking me a question that is for the future. I can't answer that. But I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn. Properly second. Discussion, there is no discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. The ayes have it.